Before you watch the video, we kindly ask that you hit the like button. It costs you nothing, helps us a lot. On to the show. Okay, so let me start this off. Super duty tough work. Y'all know what we do every week. The most infamous podcast on planet Earth. You know, doing what we do every week, which is helping artists succeed. And from time to time, we do interviews. I said I was going to get back to doing more interviews this year. We have done more in the last few months. And this is one I've been working my way towards and wanting to do for a minute. And this is with Brother Ali. If you're looking at it visually, you know what it is. You know, he's been one of the biggest supporters of the podcast. He's been a brother who I chop it up about this type of stuff offline. And so it's been dope to see him over the last few years kind of find his way, build his thing, go through certain things that are inevitable when you come from the situation we came from. Being on a larger label and then doing things yourself and then finding what your strengths and weaknesses are, building your team. And, you know, it's a pleasure to have him on the podcast today. Brother Ali, how you doing today?
Man, this is big for me. So I just want to say right at the beginning, in case people don't listen very long, I just want to say right at the top that you're one of my biggest inspirations, not only as an MC, but also in this conversation we're about to have. Like we met each other at my release party for my demo tape, my cassette in 2000. Almost 25 years ago. In June, it'll be 25 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's dope.
Yeah. And then, and so I saw you already have your own thing. Like when I saw you and Jawar, like the first time, I was like, oh, so that guy makes beats, he raps, he's the label dude. They drove here, they got their whole thing going on. Then you came into Rhymesayers and were part of Rhymesayers and then made the decision on your own. Like this was good for me, but like I'm going back to doing my thing. Yeah. Very early, like not... You know what I mean? Like you came in, did a couple things, and you did a similar thing with Def Jux, but you always maintained your own thing. And honestly, I wanted to go fully independent starting in I started feeling a certain way in around 2013, where I was like, oh, this label is not mine. I like in the beginning, those of us that were around, it really felt like it was ours. And then in 2013, I started to notice, oh, this is going in directions that from a business perspective might make sense, but it doesn't feel good to me. I used to be able to vouch for everybody around.
Yes.
And I was like, man, this is what I believe in. You know, early on, it was like, okay, you know, there's a certain aesthetic here. There's a certain intention here that I started feeling like, now I'm not so sure about that anymore. And it felt like my place in it just wasn't what it was, what it used to feel like. And so at that time, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of those things, that's when I started being like, Print, how do you?
Yes, I remember.
And it from 2013 it took me till 2020 to actually step away. Yeah. But because I looked at what you were doing and I was like, Print is just a different kind of guy. Like he's a different type of person than me. And then in 2020, I started realizing like, yeah, probably, but it's less that. And it's more that you had developed certain skills and practices and disciplines that I'm like, I have just been lazy.
Yeah.
Like
and
I just haven't
an artist too. You know what I mean? And it's the gift and curse of the label, right? Like you saying, like Rhymesayers was your first situation from your first tape. It was like, You did the tape, you got their attention. They picked up the tape. Brother Ali was in there, right? You had this infrastructure. We were like, hey, you got $200? You got $200? You got $200? Let's do some tapes, you know? And so we kind of formed around it. And so when by the time I got to Rhymesayers, like you're saying, I had that experience, but I wouldn't categorize it as lazy on your part. Like, I know you know more than I know, but part of me is like, there's also an element that you're in a system that doesn't allow you the opportunities to learn the things I learned. You know what I mean? To see what I see, to risk what I risked before I even had the Rhymesayer situation. You know, like in 2004, when we were doing the Celestial Clockwork campaign, we were in a situation where we were spending $4,000 a month just promoting that record. We had a distro deal with a retail deal. We had a publicist. We had college radio. Each one of them pieces was like $1,200, and we were committed. So by the time I got to, you know what I'm saying, to my solo career, and I had learned all this stuff on my own, we were at that point. We knew, but we learned those experiences. Yes. And so I did have a different experience, look at Rhymesayers, but you're right. Some of it is like, you feel like you could have done more. Right. But sometimes I'm like, man, did they really give you a shot to learn all this stuff? Like,
no. Well, and part of it is just, you know, it's so interesting. Like, man, it's one of those things where like I step away and it very clearly wasn't working. I'm very clearly in infinitely better space now. Yeah. But everybody there had great intentions. I know that. That's one of the things where I can like, and that's why I never even really talk about my discrepancies or whatever, because they're pretty serious on my part from my perspective. But it's like, I know everybody had good intentions and they were trying to help. They were trying to build something that works for everybody. Yeah. You know, they were trying to, you know, and also there was a lot of, it was just kind of hazy because the artists that were there at the beginning, some of them ended up, they were part owners and they did have equity and they did, but it was never clear. That stuff didn't really get ironed out till after I left. Yeah. It was when it was actually put it down in like who owns what, because that was really kind of so like at what point was that cut off? Because I wasn't there at the beginning when they were putting together $200 each to put out stuff. Yeah. I wasn't there then. You know what I mean? But so that part was unclear. But yeah, I had a certain, even if it wasn't laziness, I had a certain fear around, can I actually do that stuff? Yeah, yeah. You know, and you were one of the first phone calls that I made when I made that decision. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I remember. I think we talked for like 4 hours. We had a long talk. It was like, 3 or 4 hours. I remember that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was like, man, I'm going to do this. And you're one of the first people I called. Because also I did notice early on too, that like, when the rest of us artists talk to Sadiq, it's a different energy when Print talks to Sadiq. Like, that's not the same conversation we're having. There's a different posture with these two men that there is with all the rest of us. You know what I mean? Because like,
that's funny, but it's
because you came in there with experiences and so and so. And I remember, you know, when you decided that like, okay, that was a good run and there's still a connection there and it's still, you know, there's still openness and things that can be done together. But I remember when you just were like, okay, I'm going to go back to putting my own music out. Even just the energy around that was like, you know, Print had his own label when he came in. So
yeah. It's one of those things, something you hit on that really kind of, I definitely had the same observation. I knew it was, but it hits every artist a little differently, is that this label that I'm on, their job is not to solely make me happy. It's not my label, right? It's, I'm on this label. I may be signed this label. I have projects on this label, but this label cannot satisfy what I want to do and everybody else on the label. And it creates this inherent conflict sometimes because it's like, yo, what's best for me is this. Yes. But the label is going to say, well, what's best for the label is that.
Right. Yeah. And I was cool with that when those things didn't always line up because I thought I had some kind of stake in the label. Yeah. You know what I mean? And on a feelings level, I did. You know what I mean? Yeah. But on a feeling, like we all love each other like family. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when it comes to like, can I make a call about what happens on a label level, or even just for me personally, it's like, oh, actually, there's not power.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's desire, there's
Yeah.
goodwill, there's love, but power is a different thing, and it's very similar to, like, I'm saying, you live in the home
Yeah.
that you grew up with your mom.
Yep.
When that was mom's house, she loves you.
Yep.
You're not going to go hungry. You know what I'm saying? But you can't decide, you know what, we're just not going to have a refrigerator for a while because we're going to learn how to eat differently around here. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yes. You eat what we buy for this house. You know what I mean? But then once you bought that house, now that's, there's stock rooms, there's studios, there's studios built next to the studio to film a video in. There's a studio that looks like a studio that's actually a video studio for something, like, it just becomes different. So it's, I really liken it to that.
Yeah, it is, man. And when you have that observation, like you're saying, you start thinking, okay, what can I do? And to full transparency, there was a moment where I kind of was on the fence about it, because I was like, I'd had experience on my own, but at some point I was like, man, am I ready to go back to doing all of that again? Can I assemble the pieces around me to simulate or to help me achieve what I could achieve over there? Right? Because for those of the people who are at home listening to this, a label is not just the person who puts the stamp on the record. Labels are made up of people, many people who do heavy lifting. They do stuff behind the scenes when an artist is asleep or on the road. Certain things just happen, and it's due to labels having teams, and that team defines your experience there, because when that team is mobilized around your record, it's like, oh snap, things are just happening. But then you think, okay, can I get that same momentum on my own outside of that system? It's the same thing that attracts people to the system sometimes. A lot of artists are like, man, I'm tired of doing this by myself. I need to be over there because they got the team. And so when you leave that situation, you're thinking, man, am I really ready to do that? Can I build the team? What's going to happen? And that's kind of the starting point I like to talk about today, is just like, you've done a great job of building your team over the last few years, but I know there's been ups and downs. Right. And so like today, I definitely want to talk about like some of the ups and downs that you've had as far as just like building your team around you. Like the first question is like, how much, like, were you hesitant as well about that part? What was your initial thoughts about building a team when you thought about leaving? Was that one of the things you thought about?
Yeah, definitely. Was like, what are, because not only did I leave the label, but I also left the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I moved to another country because, part of it was like, these things were so intertwined, like our personal relationships, also the relationship with the city of Minneapolis. And then, the city of Minneapolis's relationship with the label at that time was also super, it was like an upside down moment. It was so strange. And I kind of wanted to leave America anyway. And then I got Yassine Bey in my ear, who has plenty more resources than me, going, you don't have to live in America, Habib. You could, why do you have to be in America? Like, you're bigger than America. And I'm like, all right, but you know what I mean? And it's like, he was right,
Yeah.
And one of the other things about being on a label, I mean, people reduce a record label to just being a bank, and they're not just a bank, but they also are that.
Yes.
And it's a, I don't have parents. My parents are both passed away. I have 4 children and a wife, and her parents, at that time they were still alive, but her parents live in the projects, and like, there is nobody to catch us if we fall. Literally. I got nobody that's obligated to catch me if I fall.
Real.
And so when we left, not only America, but, it really is like, man, who do I have that I can trust, that I can do this with? And at that time, I had an accountant that I still have now that I trust. He's a religious leader in our community.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's not gonna steal from me. You know what I mean? It like, you know what I mean? I don't know enough about accounting to know if he's the Dr. Dre of accounting. Yeah. But I do know that, like, I can have things physically mailed to him he whether it's cash, whatever, it would never occur to this man to rob me.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I know that in my heart of hearts. And so,
yeah. Did you,
so I had him. And,
did you have any, before you continue, did you have any conversations with people like, hey, I'm about to embark on this. If you want to get off the boat, get off the boat now. Because like I had to have conversations with people right then. I was kind of like, I had a conversation with my booking agent. I was like, hey man, I know we started this thing and I was on this label, but I'm getting ready to go here. And if you choose to not work with me because I'm not attached to that anymore, no hard feelings. Did you ever have that? Or did you have people who might have even done it to you preemptively? Like, oh, I see where this is going. I don't want to go through that.
Well, part of the issue that I had was that that I had a booking agent for like 8 years or something, that I could just feel like where he's not locked in with me.
Yeah.
He's got no ideas. There's no passion. Like I had a great, so when I first had my own booking agent, is the person that became Macklemore's manager.
Yeah.
And he was deeply invested. Like he was fighting like hell for me all the time. I know it.
Yeah.
And there's people that I met along the way that were like, Zach Quillen used to be your dude. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, man. So like Zach Quillen and Slug, as soon as I got out in the world, I found out how much those two dudes were fighting for me.
Yeah.
Because like all these writers were like, Slug told us you were coming like a year before your album even showed up. Like everybody we talked to with Slug was like, this guy, Brother Ali, wait, you like me, wait till you hear this guy.
That's true.
And then Zach Quillen, I just know what it was like. And he was on his ascent too. And then he left to do the Macklemore thing. And then I got passed around a little bit. And I ended up with somebody that had no passion for it. And I could feel the difference. But see, the thing is, within the overall system at Rhymesayers, he was helping a lot with Soundset. He was a great link for Soundset because he had all these like new, younger. So that was part of my issue is I'm like, I have a booking agent that doesn't care and I know it. And so part of when I left, I switched booking agents. And so I got with somebody, a woman named Cassie at Mint Talent Group, that she used to work at a big booking agency. And she was like one of their young star people, Cassie Siegel. And she had just stepped away from there because she's like, they're doing what they need to do as an agency. I just don't feel it. I don't want to chase down the new hot kids. And I'm out here promoting stuff that like, I hate what they're talking about. And I'm literally trying to get them on stage in front of people. She's like, I want to work with people with good messages. I want to work with legacy acts. I don't want to schmooze to try to get in the room. So I'm like, you're doing exactly what you're doing is lining up with what I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, you know, again, like she's not the biggest booking agent in the world, but we have a very important overlap. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes. That like she fights for me. She's not Black. She's not a hip hop person. She doesn't come from the hip hop space. Yeah. When I'm talking to her about Rakim, she's just like, oh, you really respect this man. And I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? Like she's like reggae and, you know, she's white people reggae and stuff like that. But you know, when somebody says Brother Ali's an anti-Semite, because I'm talking about the Palestinians, her as a Jewish woman would be like, no, Brother Ali is a human rights advocate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's enough of an overlap to me that I'm like, all right, let's, you know, also, one of my main things for partners is that, you know, I'm partially blind. Yeah. So there's two things that I just cannot do for myself because visually I can't do it. I can't read it. I can't drive a car. Yeah. So I can't drive myself to a show or on tour, my tour van like you do, because you got sight privilege. And then I can't read an email chain. Yeah. Like when there's a long chain with multiple people chiming in. Yeah. I can't do it. I physically can't do it. So sometimes I just need a person to read the email chain and tell me what it says. Yeah. That's not so like bad. Yeah. So maybe AI will do that soon. I think there's AI stuff that's saying it can do that. But
yeah. I like when you're talking about what some people might not understand is like how an artist ends up getting passed around when booking agencies kind of all this transition, because we all started kind of with Cork, because Cork was it Cork that picked up everybody on Rhymesayers? And then Cork got bought by the agency group. And then your guy, Zach, was at the agency group booking a bunch of people, because I remember him there. And I remember I toured with Macklemore before he became his manager, and then he ended up leaving, and he was your guy, but then he left, and you got passed around there to some people who just picked us up because we were in the system, but not because they really rocked with us. Right. And I was with the agency group too, and that's when I was like, this ain't gonna work, man, because we're not on the same page. And to me, I wasn't making nothing with them. I was like, I just need one person who cares about me, who believes in me. They can be the smallest booking agent. I think they'll do a better job than the biggest booking agency at the agency group, which is a huge, huge company. But if that person over there doesn't care about you, the person who doesn't know as much about booking but cares will do 10 times the job.
Yeah, always. I always take a person who cares. I'd rather lose with a person that cares than win with a person that doesn't. Because at the end of the day, I'm saying, and that's why, like, my whole time watching you, I saw that you were having a more fulfilling, enriching experience with numerically less supporters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That I'm like, and I'm like, it's, you don't want to like count other people's pockets. And I know I have a big family and stuff. Yeah. But I'm like, man, I'm out here doing bigger numbers, but I'm not so sure that I'm more financially secure than Print.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not as free or happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing you play around and play with like creatively, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm going to make an instrumental album and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And like, just seeing all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm allowed to do those things. Probably, but I definitely saw a freedom that, and so, yeah, man, it's like ultimately for those of us that are really artists, we want to feel good. Like, yeah, we got to eat, we got to, but for me, I hate injustice so much that I just want to create a little portion of my little portion of the world where we get to tell the truth and it feels just and it feels healthy and it feels sane. And people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that that's what motivates me. I'd rather have that than more people in the room cheering for me. I'd rather have that than more money. I want to feel like the whole thing about being independent is supposed to be, we don't like what's happening in the world and we have to engage it, but we're going to create a thing over here that is going to feel like what we want the world to, well, our world can feel like what we want it to feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because like, yeah, there's a lot of people who, like you're saying, they look at nothing but the numbers and they think the numbers tell the whole story. And sometimes we know just as independent artists, like I tell guys all the time, I said, there's times where I, as an artist, I look like I was winning, but I was losing. And there's as many times where I look like I was losing, but I was winning. Like I remember guys taking me to the side when I left Rhymesayers, like, man, it's like, Brent, man, is everything okay, man? I saw you. What's going on, man? Are you okay, man? Like am I like acting as if I'm homeless? I was like, bro, I'm making more money than I ever have. I'm good, bro. It's cool. They're like, oh, good. We just want to ask you. And I was like, this is wild because on the outside, I don't have the bells and whistles. I don't have the things. But as you know, moving to the other side, sometimes looks can be deceiving. And it works both ways. Like there's been times people like, this fool's losing over there. You're like, actually, I'm doing good. I'm happy. And it's like, nah, you're winning. It's like sometimes it's the opposite,
And it also just depends on what your message is, I hate the word brand, but
yeah. In
terms of like brand meaning a conversation with the public, like your public personality or something. Your character to the public that doesn't know you. Yeah. So like if being cool or being rich is part of your brand, then you will lose part of what's integral to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I mean, me and you came up, like I remember we used to look at people that were super fly on stage and being like, there's no way this is going to be a good show. That shirt is too expensive. You know what I mean?
They care too much about how they look.
They're not sweating in that. You know what I mean? They're not ripping that. They're not, you know what I mean? Like they're not jumping in the crowd. They're not ripping. They're not going to get, they're not going to lay on the stage. They're not going to, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody going to spill a drink on that. Like you care too much about how you look, and that's fine. Like all our favorite rappers, like Rakim doesn't walk on grass.
Yeah, that's real.
Like if you know what I'm saying? Like when Rakim performs at a festival, the golf cart he has to step off the golf cart because that fresh brand new, he's wearing brand new kicks. He never wore these kicks before. Yeah. Like that. That Air Force One got to go right from the bus steps to the golf cart, and right from the golf cart step to the stage step. And it's like, yeah, Rakim shouldn't walk on grass.
I don't walk, I get carried. I don't know why that line just pops in my head, that ODB line.
You know what I'm saying?
I get carried. You know?
Yo, I get carried. Yeah, man. And it's like, yeah, Prince should get carried to stage.
Yeah.
Like he did on that James Brown clip. Like
back.
someone should carry Prince to stage. And I had a long conversation with Big Daddy Kane about this one time, because he was talking about the difference between him and KRS, because they're dear friends. They've been dear friends forever. He's like, yo, Chris don't care what he wear. You know that Brooklyn, he don't care what he wear. But he's like, he wants to look like he wants everybody in the audience to be like, that could be me.
Yeah.
He's like, for me, he's like, I am here to represent something that's outside your imagination.
That's dope.
And they're both, it's both fine. It's both that. I've toured with Evidence. Evidence is cool. I am not.
Right.
I know the difference. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's so true, man. I like to talk about, because one of the people who has been the first people I think on your team outside your booking agent is BK1.
Yes.
And I like you to talk about like his role and how it evolved in helping you kind of transition away from Rhymesayers to building your own thing. Yeah.
So BK is as closest to a day one as I have. And in my actual career, that's my day one. Yeah. But but I didn't move to, like, he's from Milwaukee. I'm not originally from Minnesota. We met when I had already been rapping since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So, but he's the first person to play me on the radio. He's the first person to record me. He's the first person to say, you've got more going on inside you that's not showing up in the music. If you figure out how to say the things you say when we talk in your music. Yeah. He introduced me to Rhymesayers. He, he's the one that, you were there when me and him figured out what the arc of my live performance should be.
Yeah.
And like what it is specifically that I have to offer. Because those first 2 weeks on tour, we were struggling, you know what I mean? And then at some point we started putting things in place, and it's like, okay, now we're kind of threatening to steal the show a little bit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that's my day. So he had stepped away about 10 years ago because when he had kids, he's like, I don't need to, like, my particular talent, it isn't related to the road. So I'm stealing time from my children if I'm on the road, because I don't need to be, that's not my gift.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have a choice. Your gift means you got to be in front of people. But he's like, when he started having kids, like, that's not for me. So he built an anti-racist radio station, spent 10 years doing that in South Minneapolis. And then when George Floyd came, he was like, oh, because he was just a servant. Yeah. And that's, so me and BK connect really on, like, if you're going to be a white person in Black people's art and culture, you have to carry it a certain way. Yeah. Otherwise, like, just be a minstrel show if that's what you are, and just live and die like that. You know what I mean? And like, F you, like that. We hate that. But it's like, okay, to carry it respectfully, even if you still got white ways of interacting from time to time, things got to get smoothed out. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not learned overnight. That's learned sometime with some punches to the head. And
hey, we got some stories about that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
BK, teeing off on me on tour on some cultural differences.
Cultural differences, you know what I mean? Oh, man, yes. Licks. Oh, hilarious. Yeah, just he wasn't used to that.
No.
You know what I mean? He's just like, man, if there's a bunch of people swinging on me, then somebody's gotta die.
I was like,
yo, this is play fighting. You don't know about play fighting?
Hey, BK, you just socked me like 8 times in a row. You just speed back me, man.
Because he's like, yo, I'm the smallest dude here. What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, he did, like, play fighting wasn't part of his
no
cultural milieu.
No.
Yeah. But so when George Floyd happened, he was like, you know what? He's like, I built this. So he built this platform, but he wouldn't play music. He wouldn't curate the stuff. He didn't do any of the content. Yeah. He's like, I'm here as a servant. I fill the paperwork out. I do the timesheets. I do the so-and-so. But then when George Floyd happened, he was like, I'm not needed. Like, a Black person should be running this.
Yeah.
And so he spent like a 6-month period, like finding and then handing it off. Yeah. So he was just transitioning out of that. So when I left, me and him hadn't really even been vibing a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't check with him first, nothing. And I initially hit him up about just producing the podcast because he's an amazing editor. Like
Yeah.
he's so great at it. And I was like, would you produce this podcast? And the more we talked and the more we just kind of talked this stuff through, he was like, I was thinking about what my next move was going to be. And he's like, I want this to be it. And he knew what he wanted. He's very clear on like what he wants.
Yeah.
And, and what he can do and what he can't do. He knows his boundaries very well. Amazing communicator.
Yeah.
Sometimes too good. Sometimes you're like sitting there like, can we please, you know what I mean? But he's very precise in communicating. And so, yeah, he came in 2021.
Okay.
We launched. And so, yeah, so he's my partner in the production company, Travelers Media.
Yeah.
The podcast, the music we release, the learning series we do, the merch, that whole side of things. He doesn't touch the live side.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, it's important that those things stay separate.
Yeah. And so he is like, and what I think is important, I remember one of the conversations you and I had about you leaving the country and wanting to go on your own was having someone on this side who could kind of help, because even down to simple things that people may not understand, it's a big difference between doing a pre-order for your record and selling it in the States and mailing it from Turkey.
Yeah.
It changes the whole financial model of it to where certain things you may not be able to do if you don't have someone on this side who can kind of help orchestrate certain things.
So I was very fortunate to get on the phone with Alchemist.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's somebody that, I mean, his model is just like way next level. You know what I mean? And there's so many factors in like why he's able to do things at that level that not everybody are going to be able to do. But so when I first talked to him, he had somebody doing fulfillment.
Yes.
So he like hired somebody to do that. And I think they get a percentage. And so initially, I did meet people along the way just by being around, touring and Rhymesayers and stuff like that. And so one thing I said is like, I'm not going to go ask somebody at Rhymesayers to also work for me. Right. That feels unethical. That feels whack. It's like, if you're leaving, leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't about to sneak back in and be like, hey, could you actually, like, their design guy, Alex, is the illest.
Yeah.
And we love each other. And if I asked him to, I don't know. I wouldn't even do it. But I'm not going to go ask him to help design my merch or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I might ask general advice about something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But partners, like third-party partners that I met along the way, to me, that's all fair game. I'm like, absolutely. Hey, I'm not with the label anymore. Now I'm me. So there's a guy that does a big merch company, Doug Lefevre.
Yep, I know Doug. Yep.
So, I mean, he's a huge company now that like he does Tyler, the Creator's merch and Kendrick Lamar and all that stuff. So my first thing I did with him, and I realized like, oh, I'm not going to be a big enough, I don't have enough volume to make sense for him. Like it makes no sense for him to focus on me. And then also that cut that he takes was like, that cut into my profit way too much. So I mean, having somebody on the ground, having somebody that, just even as simple as like having a place that like I can have my Amazon packages sent to BK's house. Because we don't have Amazon in Turkey. So you can't get stuff shipped to Turkey. They charge crazy. You might not even get it. Jeez. So, I mean, every time I come in Minnesota right now, before I leave, BK will bring over a big box of all my Amazon stuff. And I put it in my suitcase and bring it back. Like having somebody, two-factor authentication. They want to send you an SMS message to a US phone number. I don't have one of those. So I'm on FaceTime with Brendan. Like, hey, did they send you the code? Because his phone number is the code for my stuff. So you got to hella trust that person.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, that's one of the things is like, man, being able to really trust the people that do that is if I had to hire a person, I don't know if I could. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think it would work either. I think it's always better to start with the people who are already in your circle, because they legit understand and care. Quick announcement. we have officially launched the Super Duty Tough Work website, and we would like to officially invite you as a listener of the show to go check it out. The website is superdutytoughwork.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork.net. Go there and check out the site. You can do 4 things on there right now. The first thing you can do is listen to the podcast. Second thing you can do is purchase books. The third thing you can do is book coaching calls. And the fourth thing you can do on the website is purchase ads for your business on the show. So this is the first time you have been able to do that all in one place. So please take a second, go over to superdutytoughwork.net, sign up for our email newsletter over there, and support the movement. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. And you have certain times where you've tried things with people who were not like in your circle, and some went well, some did not. And like one that we kind of spoke about a little bit was just kind of like the mixing and mastering of records. That's something that you've tried different ways, right? Because part of that is you don't mix and master your own records in Turkey. You still have them done in Minneapolis where you initially did all your records. Like explain kind of like how that part of it kind of came together.
Yeah. So one of the like I've maintained great relationship with Joe Mabbitt, who mixed a bunch of our stuff with Ant.
Yeah.
And that's been great. You know what I mean? So I have somebody that I can be like, hey, can you run stems for me?
Yeah.
Can you know what I mean? And he'll do those things. And then also he understands, like, now that it's my own thing, you know what I mean? Like I had him run stems for the last tour that we did.
Yeah.
And he sent me a bill and I was like, I'm leaving for a tour. I just put $15,000 into this tour. Yeah. And I was just so real with him. I was like, so just so you know, what's happening right now is every night we're getting the money for the show. Yeah. I'm waiting for it to clear so I can pay down the credit card so we can check in the hotel the next day. Yeah. And he was like, pay me when you can, bro. Don't even sweat it.
He's like, this is the Rhymesayers bill. This is his Brother Ali tour though.
Right.
You gotta give me some terms, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and he was down to do that. And it's funny because I found out back in the day, he was doing that for a different artist. Yeah. And I was like, I felt a way about it. Like, how come you're charging us your top rate and we have to pay immediately or you won't come in? Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? But then for these other people, you're doing this. And it's just like, man, that's the way he was running his business. He's like, the people who can pay are going to pay. The people who can't, I'm going to give them some, and it's a choice he made. And then you got to decide, like, do I still want to be part of that? And at the end of the day, we did. So, yeah. But yeah, I've had, so with other stuff that we've done, I worked with people, I reached out to some people that weren't in-house. So one of the main lessons I learned is for people who are seen as legends at what they do, like they've been at it for decades, they're legendary. Yeah. Anybody that's a legend, don't hire that person to do anything that they're not already legendary for. They are not going to take a creative journey with you. No. Like if you're like, okay, I know you're known for doing this. Yeah. But I got this, I'm trying to do something outside the box right now. They're not doing that. You're going to pay premium prices. Yeah. They're just going to run the program that they always ran. Cause it's like, man, they're at a phase in their life where it would be off brand for them to do something different. That's true. So man, I have paid out some of the biggest, I don't call it waste. That's a great lesson, but like, I would say the least return on investment, some of the biggest investments with the least returns. Yeah. There was a publicist who's a legend. Mm-hmm. And there was an engineer who's a legend. And that publicist got me zero stuff. because it was an outside the box project.
That's embarrassing. And for those who don't know, like, because some people don't know this conversation, that when you get a publicist, you pay them a monthly retainer, and during that you can go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Some people go as far as 120. And that publicist's job is to send your record to all of their connections at every publication, everybody they know, and for them to generate buzz talking in the forms of reviews, interviews, coverage, video debuts. And so artists like us, we've been on labels where labels have a publicist that works in house for them, right? At a set retainer, because they have so many artists, they can just divide it amongst all their artists. But when you go independent, you have to pay this bill yourself. But you expect that person is going to do their job and at least get you some press about a record you did.
Yeah.
And so for you to say this guy got zero press, that is, I'm like, talking about crazy.
It's not that I went from like being in Rolling Stone, which all of my projects have been prior. All my previous projects, that's what I meant to say. All of my previous projects were in Rolling Stone, XXL, whatever. It's not like I went from that to smaller stuff. Yeah. I went from the biggest stuff to nothing. Zero. Part of it is that I was talking about Palestine when you weren't supposed to be doing that. Yeah. It's not all his fault. And also it was an outside the box project. There was a lot of it but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's not the time to go with a legend that's just going to do whatever made them a legend. If you need somebody to fight for you, and also to your point about just the working with a big booking agency, working with a label that's got. I did lose some stuff when I stepped away from them and just the collective power of that. Yes. You know what I mean? So like it's Jay Bird's job to get me booked on certain things, but Jay Bird also has Soundset. So like there are people that want to be cool with the Soundset guy. So if there's a decision between, if we're doing whatever, conscious hip hop fest outdoors in the park, and if they're choosing between Brother Ali or, it's a shrinking field for who that is Immortal nowadays. Technique or something like that. If it's between me and Immortal Technique, similar size, whatever. If they're making that decision, if they go with Brother Ali, they get in good with the dude that books Soundset and the dude that can get them atmosphere. Yeah. So they're also thinking about, what I mean, all of the other things, and the same thing with a booking agency, like to not or a press thing. Yeah. So like if you have somebody smaller, if they don't also do press for Alchemist, like if somebody's working my thing and Alchemist thing, the people at the radio station, at the outlet or whatever, they really want to get Alchemist, and in the back of their mind, they're like, that's the guy that also does Alchemist. Yeah. So I'll take his Brother Ali because I know he's on the hook for a Brother Ali thing, because then when I'm on the hook, then hopefully he can deliver me an Alchemist thing. Yeah. I remember seeing Alchemist one time sitting at Vlad. Mm-hmm. It was Alan Evidence. Yeah. They're sitting there, and it's the same dude that was, they're sitting there, and Vlad, it's one of those ones where Vlad's not there. He's on the phone. Yeah. Remote type interview. And you can just tell Alan Ever just like, this is so, why am I here? This is stupid. Like they don't hide those things well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like me, I'll smile and be like, my eyebrows are going to be high, but I'm going to be like, yes. They're just like, should people write their rhymes or go off the top? And they're like, I don't know, whatever makes good music. Like you can just tell they're like, whatever. But they said yes to that. And then stuff like that happens because a bunch of people were banking favors. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you leave that relationship, you don't get those looks as much. You miss out on those, but your cachet of favors starts to benefit you. Yes. Instead of benefiting a system that you don't own. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a whole other cachet, especially on some community stuff in the Twin Cities. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like for community people, there was a time when the system I was part of was benefiting from the fact that we love, like Brother Ali is a man of the people. Yeah. And so we want to be supportive of that. Yes. Now that cachet of good reputation and stuff like that, now I actually benefit from that myself. So it does work both ways to a degree. Yeah. That's a great point. And so like,
something else you touched on that I definitely want people to understand is like you touched on like I'm going on tour and I have to spend X amount of dollars just to get on tour. People don't think of us doing that. I had a very similar conversation with my guy DJ Detox the other day about this exact same thing, and we were talking about Dibs and Sage going on tour with Atmosphere, and we were talking about how much about merch, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure they spent at least $5-6 grand just in t-shirts or something to go on a 30-day tour with them. You know, he was like, what? I was like, think about it. Like, and at that point, you know, we had a conversation about just like, we can't just go on tour with nothing and come home with money. Touring is an investment at the highest level. And then all of a sudden, with you leaving a situation, you are the one who has to write every check. There is no, Absolutely. I get the accounting at the end. Like, how was that realization to you coming into that? Like, because I mean, there's people now, everybody's looking at you. Like, had to be a lot different than going out before, right?
Yeah. And, you know, there was a period where, one of the people that I did have like close to me when I made that transition was, so he started out as my DJ Last Word, started out as my DJ. And then once we started working together, I'm like, you could be a tour manager. Like, you know what I mean? He's an airline pilot. He runs his own businesses. I'm like, and that's actually his genius zone in my estimation. You know what I mean? That like, we switched and he started being the tour manager, and it took like 5 years to get to that point. Yeah. But, and it actually, so Paul, who used to be my tour manager, started working full time for Tyler, the Creator.
Wow.
And so he was still coming and doing our tours out of love and loyalty to me. Yeah. And I started realizing like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. Like you've graduated to the next level. Cause you know what I mean? And it actually was like, instead of it fostering love between us, I started to be a sense, I started to represent an obligation to him, because like he's driving the van and he's whatever, he's touring with Tyler, he's not doing any of that. Yeah. So I'm like, man, do not feel obligated to me. But so now he's a resource for me because he trains sound guys, he trains tour managers, he trains merch. So now he helps me get in touch. Now he helps me source people. Yeah. And he also has his own equipment that he rents out. Okay. And so now it's like, now his love and loyalty to me is like, hey, when you go out, you rent a mic, it's $100. That's beautiful. For the whole tour, where that should be $1,000 line item. But so yeah, Last Word became the tour manager. When I left Rhymesayers, I was like, I brought him, there was another level up to be like the manager. Yeah. This is before Brendan was in the picture. Yeah. And I realized that I don't think that that's his genius zone. That didn't work. That was very stressful and confusing, and for both of us. And that actually, I think we don't work together anymore. Part of it is because we both moved out of the country. He moved to New Zealand. He's got his family and da. But like part of it is like what went from being a relationship that was fun became stressful, confusing. You know what I mean? Yeah. We weren't able to communicate through those things. And so we ended up going our separate ways. Because and it's like, you know, I could blame him, and I think he blames me. Yeah. But the lesson for me is like, I put him in a position that I needed somebody in, and it wasn't really the right position for him. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's the responsibility I can take for that. Yeah. Is that I needed something to be done. So I kind of like forced somebody, not forced, you know, it's choice, but like I put somebody in a position that they weren't quite right for. And then, and that took something that was working really well, and it's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's real, man. Sometimes, I think we've all had situations like that. Cause like some people can be really good at one thing, and it's very tempting to be like, hey man, you could probably do this too. But it's like, it takes a lot of restraint to not put them there, because it can be overwhelming to them.
Yeah, there's just different types of minds. It's no different than saying like, you won the battle, so now I'm gonna give you a record deal. Right. They're different. You know what I'm saying? It's way like different. You know what I mean? Or like, you're on my label, now go get in the battle. It's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, these are different. So like what I learned is that like, yeah, tour managing is a very specific type of logistical mind. And
Yes.
at that, if anyone's listening to this, there's a person out there named Last Word
Uh,
who is an amazing tour manager. And if he wants to work, I hope he gets it because he deserves it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But artist management is a whole lot of communication and like a
Yes.
whole lot of managing of your emotional state
Yes.
and a whole lot of and when things have gone off track, it's never been because the business wasn't working. It's
Mm,
never been because we're not good at what we do together.
yeah.
It's been relationship stuff.
Mm.
You
So
know what I
real.
mean? It's been the human element that for me
Yeah.
that's made it go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
Because yeah, I mean, even when the business is good, things can go off the rails due to the human element, and that's because you have all these stories. Why did this group break up? They were doing so well, or why did this happen? Because they were doing so well. Well, because people are people, and like if you don't manage that part, doesn't matter how much money people can make together if the business is going good.
and yeah, man, and the ultimate thing is for me, it's like, man, sobriety, therapy, spirituality, self-care, health, physical health.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, for me to do, I lost 60 pounds doing this, and I
Yeah.
still got another 20 to go.
That's
You know
beautiful.
what I mean? That was a big part of it for me. And I remember when I left saying to Last Word, like, man, we got to get therapy. I need to get physically healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we need to, like, if we're going to take on a lot more, then like, we're going to have to like prepare ourselves physically, emotionally,
Yes.
spiritually, mentally. And there's got to be a lot of self-improvement. You got to,
Yeah.
like, when I was looking at you and I was like, that's the kind of person that I'm not. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I got to become that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, even me looking at you and like, you were never, I remember you used to always call me fat boy. It's like we had that type of friendship. I said all kind of crazy stuff to you too. I told you looked like a roll-on deodorant one time. You came out with a headband on.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, you threw fish at me and I chased you down the street like we were friends. Play fighting is part
Exactly.
of that is part of my experience. So like, yeah, we totally had that. Oh man, we had my face is getting hot now, like just remembering some of that stuff. But I was looking at like, man, Prank got very healthy when he started doing all this stuff. And I
Yes.
remember seeing you and also uh I also noticed that what you were able to do to make
Yeah.
that work is to scale your expenses.
Yes.
That I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh, this guy used to go on tour, used to go to Macy's with Ant and buy a bunch of polo. That's not
Yeah.
happening anymore.
No.
I remember I saw you at one time, like, can I tailor my own clothes? And I was like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I had to invest in myself to be the kind of person that could do the things now that I want to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I had that same observation. It was like, there was one point I was like, I think it was like right before I got sober. I was like, man, there's somewhere I want to go with this.
Mm,
And I don't think I can get there being who I am. I gotta be better.
mm,
I gotta be a different person to get to there. There's things I'm afraid to try because, like just simple shit like playing on stage, playing
mm.
trombone on stage, playing keys on stage. I never would have tried that if I wouldn't have stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And then when I stopped drinking, it was like, oh, now you don't have this big thing that makes you fear messing up. Now
Yeah.
you practicing it. You're a better version of yourself because you don't do. Now you can do more because you've become a better version of yourself.
And your ability to communicate, like you've always been a great communicator, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you like when you stopped drinking, like especially over a little bit of time, like you took on a different tone.
Yeah.
There's like something different about there's like what's the word? You have a way of dealing that I notice with a lot of people that get sober.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ant did it too. You know,
Mm.
that like you start to see like because a person is like, now I have to feel all my feelings.
Yes.
And it makes you really masterful in dealing with people, whereas maybe before it was a little rougher around the edges
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
you're so much more in touch with your stuff. And I will say that the people that I've had, I don't like the word fallings out, and you know, because it's like we did great stuff together for a while and we just don't anymore.
Yeah.
But on my end anyway, it feels like when I started doing the like, therapy and self thing,
Yeah.
there was a plane that we couldn't communicate anymore.
Yes.
And like I started being willing to delve into conversations that they weren't trying to go into.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, if we had done this thing together, it sounds like I'm saying I'm better than them. And in this regard, the type of dedication to self-improvement is better than not having that dedication. Doesn't mean that the person is better. Yeah. But I really just noticed that, like, at this stage in our life, the people that are sober, it's a major difference between the people who aren't. Absolutely. The people that have done some therapy, the people that, don't still eat pizza every day, the people who go for a walk, the people who you start seeing them in the same clothes all the time are in a different financial position than the people that always got the new kicks. Like, we're just, life's different now. Those things are not the same. Like, those kind of sacrifices, you just see a night and day difference with, like, you start talking to a 40-something-year-old and you're like, oh, you don't go to therapy and you drink every day. And like, you drink and you don't go to therapy. So like, there's certain conversations you just can't have. No. You're drinking instead of having this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And they try
with yourself.
With yourself. Exactly. That's all the conversation is.
Yeah, you can't do it. The same way I couldn't carry turntables up the stairs until a few years ago. Yeah. Like, I physically don't ask a 300-pound legally blind person to do certain physical things. I can't do it. Yeah. I you know what I mean? If you all go kayaking, I'm probably not going.
Yeah. But it's beautiful to think about it, because some people tend to think about it in a reverse way. Like, people think that, okay, all I have to do is do this thing and I will become this thing. But it's like, no, become the person you need to be first. And everything you do will be at that level you want to be at. Like, who do you need to be to get that? Yeah, in the process. Like, who do I need to be to get that thing? Instead of, what do I need to do to get that thing? Nah, man, what kind of person
you were around when I first met my wife. I don't say her name in public, because she's private. She chooses to be private. But you were there when I met her. When I met her, she was a 21-year-old cute girl. Yeah. This woman now is a 40-something-year-old therapist. Yeah. She's a different woman. So like, I had to become a different person to stay married to that woman. Yeah. Like, I can't be the same person I used to be. You know what I mean? And so in these relationships too, it's like, man, it's one of the things people fear. Like, you see, like, I help a lot of people convert to Islam. Yeah. It's like, if the wife converts to Islam, the husband gets hella uncomfortable if he's not doing it too. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, she's about to start getting up and praying at night. She's about to start, she doesn't drink anymore. Oh, she's not. It's like, if a person takes on a growing thing. Yes. Not everybody is going to go along. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or something, but it's like, some of I just want to make sure to include in this that, like, I have gained some great team and I've lost some great team too. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't feel good about it, but it's like, man, some of it is part of it. Like,
yes, it's part of it. It's just, when you grow, there's certain people, there's certain friendships that I definitely lost when I got sober. It made me look at certain things differently. And there's guys I just had conversations with now about it. Like, yo, man, I felt when I was getting sober, you wasn't fucking with me. And so I kind of backed away, and I was trying to have these conversations. You wasn't trying to really go there.
Can they sit still when you talk like that? If they still drink, can they sit still and have a conversation like that?
The last conversation, yeah, he did. Because we hadn't seen each other in like 5 years. And it wasn't like we was avoiding each other. It's just like, one of my guys, man, we had a misunderstanding, and we should have really, now we just say, man, if I would have just cussed you out then and let you know I was mad, this would have been completely avoidable.
Me and you had one years ago. And I noticed after like a couple months, like, oh, is Print not talking to me? And I remember I hit you up and was like, please, I don't know what I did, please. and then you told me what it was, and I was like, damn, I didn't even, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we talked it out pretty quick. I'm glad it wasn't years.
But sometimes it's because I didn't intend on not being friends with him. But it was like, and then 5 years later, he's in a completely different place in his life.
Okay, so he caught up.
Yeah. Like his life is in a beautiful place. And so it's like, yo, man, we walked in, I saw him in a bar, gave him a hug. I said, man, you ready to have this talk? Yeah, let's have this talk. We just walked to the other side of the bar. Man, look, this is what happened. This is what, okay, but what did you think? Oh, man, I was mad at you because of this. And I was, okay, man, look, fuck that shit, man. Your life is beautiful right now. I've been watching you, man. Man, you too, man. Look, man, let's just get back on it. And it was, that was it. That was
so
it.
you both had glow ups. They just weren't at the same time. Yeah,
it was different. And it was like, yo, man, life is short, man. And sometimes, as long as somebody's moving in a positive way.
You want to hear something else? I don't think I've ever said this to you. I don't even know if I realized it till this minute. But there were times where I had an insecurity around you because you were running your career, and I knew that I was scared to do that.
That's wild.
Yeah, just a little bit, not too. You know what I mean? Not too much, but it's like, yeah, when you're in the room with somebody that's doing something that you know that you haven't given yourself that gift yet. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is different. There is a difference between doing that level of work and not doing it. So yeah, there were times where in the back of my mind, I would be like, man, I'm scared to do what Print's doing. Yeah. And Print is responsible and grown in ways that, yeah, you've always been very grown up to, like, there's certain people that are like, they're grown ups. Yeah. Yeah. And you might be 6 months older than me or something.
Yeah. Like Murs be saying the same things. Like, Print's very corporate. He's like, very they call me corporate and shit.
Well, no, I'm saying, you know what, man? And like Mally is like a 10 years younger version of you. Because Mally came from corporate. Mally, you know what I mean? It's funny, man. Very similar relationship with his mom. Very similar kind of upbringing. And now like runs several of his own businesses. You guys both had big corporate jobs where you're making money and both were celebrating a little bit while that was going on. And you know what I mean? Being like I'm the sexy black man in the corporate space. Like, man, I can do some stuff here. But both stepped away from it. Both stopped drinking. Both stopped. It's really deep, man. Just seeing that, that's like, dope. Yeah, and so it's like that human element is such a huge thing, and also having the one thing that Merce is amazing about is really tending to his relationships.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
I agree.
Like Merce will not come through your city and not see you. He remembers your mom, anybody in your family. You know what I mean? He has stories. He like all of your mutual jokes. He can call them right back up.
That's so true.
Like, man, Michael Scott on The Office has a Rolodex. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people will like go try to like Dwight tries to read his Rolodex and he's like, and how is Alexa, your black wife? You know what I mean? But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that thing where you also like, man, there's like relationships require a certain level of maintenance. Yeah. Yeah. And if
I say like we're in an industry too, where like people underestimate that. They think that they can just bully through with talent all the time. And it's not true. It's like you have I had to learn in life, it's okay to like have like a debate or a falling out, or not even falling out like beef, but just like, yo, Holly said such and such to me, man, I'm mad. And then I just go off of my place and I just process it and think about it. Then when I'm not mad, okay, man, yeah, man, you said this, man, I was hurt because I thought this and da-da-da. Man, I ain't mean like that, man. I was just fucking, we got that. Man, you right, man. All right, man, let's get back to it, right? That's okay. But it's like so many people want to bully through, like talent is enough. They offend everybody. They don't have the humility to get on the phone, to answer when the call comes through, to speak to somebody and admit, yo, I felt this kind of way when you said that. It kind of hurt me, or I wasn't expecting that coming from you. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't make you weak to do that.
You know, I know, we'll leave the name out, and this could be any number of people. If people assume they know who I'm talking about, you probably don't. I know a person, an artist that knew a lot of women at one stage in their life. And I found out later, because we ran into one of the people that they used to deal with. And I don't know if it ended well. Yeah. And we ran into that person. And I was like, hey, so-and-so's here. And he was like, it's totally cool. Yeah. And I saw them interact and it was totally fine. I was like, whoa, what part of the game is this? So I asked, And I found out that he had reached out to several of the women that he was, not a like chance encounter, but like that he had a standing thing with during that period of his life. And he reached out to them and said, hey, I just, me and you had some time together. I just wanted to open the door. If there's anything that you feel like you need to say to me, I just want you to know you've got the space to say it, and I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that is like, man, that is ninja level.
I did that when I got sober. I did the same thing. Yeah. I went on at the time I was like, I got to go on an apology tour. And I just basically, every girl I ever felt like I didn't give a good shot to, or I did her, it had nothing to do with her. I went around, I called them all, or I said, hey, if you're around, if you're in town, I like to sit down and talk and just apologize and give you a space to say whatever you want to say to me. And I know it's not about me. You know what I mean? It's about you. And if you would like to do that, it's cool. You don't have to even hit me back. I did that shit for like a whole year. I even apologized to fucking Randy Hawkins because of some shit that happened on tour once. Like I wrote him a long email. You know what I mean? Like Randy and his wife told me he hung it up in his office because it was like so wow.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously? You're fucking serious?
Yeah. So
wrote me a fucking email.
Yeah.
Yo, man. Randy and Barack Obama, their voices are not totally separate.
It's so true.
They're in the same voice family. But yeah, man.
Because like
that's amazing. I mean, yeah, and that's the kind of thing that like whether you use therapy or a program or like a spiritual religious thing, there's got to be something outside of our own ego, man. Like there's got to be something out of like what's going to make me uncomfortable in healthy ways. What's going to give me some clean pain?
Yes.
Dr. Resma Menachem says you either got clean pain or dirty pain. Clean pain is when you sit with the feelings. You know what I mean? Yeah. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. But man, dirty pain is the side effects of this, trying to run away from those feelings. And so like, man, and like we need some sort of coaching to know, because it all just hurts at first.
Yes.
So it's like, is this a hurt that's actually stretching? Is this the hurt of stretching and lifting weights and doing yoga? Or is this the hurt of actually something being bad,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you have to do that when you get so. I felt I had to do it. There's like so many little dumb things you would be involved in. There's things that happen at shows. I would see somebody online say something like, "Hey, you such and such," and I would hit them up on Facebook. Hey, man, look, I know that night you was talking about. Can we talk about it? Can you add me as a friend so we can talk about it? And we would talk about it, and I would be like, "Dude, I'm fucking sorry, man. I apologize. My ego was this. I was drinking. I was at this point, and I'm not proud of what I did. And I hope you can accept the apology. But if you cannot and don't, that's fine too. You know what I mean? I just need you to know that I'm acknowledging that I was a piece of shit in that moment, and I did X, Y, and Z, or said X, Y, and Z, and that wasn't called for, and I'm sorry.
And I mean, that's one of the most like superhero things that person can do.
Yeah.
It's like, man, especially like with your children. I have 2 grown children now.
Yeah.
Man, I told Fahim, his name I say, but the other kid's name I don't say. It's like I had a period where everything was public, and then I started realizing like I can't make everybody else public. But man, with him, I was like, hey, a lot of times I was over the top angry with you because I'm kind of extra. You know that about me. But not everybody would think that if they just hear my music. Yeah. Like you might not, you hear my older music, you hear it. But I said on my new record, I don't criticize my children in my podcast voice. Like,
completely different voice. Yeah.
Different voice. But yeah, I told Fahim, I said, man, there was times where I was over the top angry. I was really scared. This guy, 24 years old, says, what were you afraid of? I was like, I was afraid of you messing with drugs. I was afraid of you going to jail. I was afraid of you getting killed, doing some street stuff. I was afraid of you being homeless. I'm trying to open up the window for him to say, yeah, man, you were extra. I was like always worried about disappointing you. And, your shoes were too big to fill, or you were always gone. Or there's a million things for my children to be like, you're whack. People think you're good. And you're kind of corny to me. But he said, hey, man, you were right to be worried about all those things.
There you have it.
And I was like, I'm trying to give you space to tell me. He's like, sounds like you already know. He's like, what's the point of, He's like, man, you were trying to help me. He's like, even then I knew you just care about me.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. But like, man, that apology, that like, let me tell you, like, let me sit with what part of this is my fault.
Yeah.
And putting that to a person that it's like, that opens up so much stuff. And man, the times where there's two people that I don't speak to. And when I think back, I'm like, man, I know plenty of this. This was at least half my fault.
Yeah.
Anytime a relationship goes bad, it's at least half this relationship was me. But it's like, man, one thing I noticed is we definitely got to the part where I cried and told them my parts. And I don't remember getting that back. I don't remember the part where here's the part that was my fault.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one-way street type joint.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough, man. Yeah. And like you're saying, when you tell somebody that, you don't know how they're going to respond. Like, there was women who were just like, okay, cool. Or some women who were just like, yeah, you were this and that. Then another, but I forgive you. There's other women who are like, actually, I thought about it, and the same thing that was going on with us happened to me years later, and then I understood you. You know what I mean? So now it's cool. I get it now, because now I was in that position later on. I understand what I was doing to you. So now you're straight. We're good.
And man, one of the things that you said that I love, that I'm really like going to take, in particular, a lot of stuff. Like, I've learned so much from you, but like, one of the main things is like, I really love the thing going into it. Like, I don't have the expectation. I'm not expecting you to respond any particular way or to respond at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that owes you the apology, or at least that's what this conversation is.
Exactly. Because if you get into that, oh, they didn't respond, you're making it about you again. Like, oh, you didn't respond. You did me wrong by not responding. Oh, you didn't respond how I liked you to respond. So,
right. Am I giving you an apology, or am I expecting you to give me a clear conscience?
That's exactly what it is. Like,
because they're opposites. They can sound the same, but they are opposites.
Exactly.
One is me trying to come take some more from you. Now that I did you dirty, now I want you to clear my conscience for me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Black History Month, Target, Black History Month campaign. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not actually giving you any money or anything, but like, we just want a smooth thing. We're cool, right? Yeah. Like, no, we're not. No, we're actually not. Yeah.
Yeah. People talk about that. The avoidance of guilt often, is disguised as an apology. And it's like, nah, man, you just tired of feeling guilty. You really don't, or you want somebody else to feel like you feel. Your guilt is your fucking punishment, man. Like, I looked at it like, my guilt over this shit, that's my punishment for what I did to these people I'm apologizing for.
Yes. Yeah, man. It's so true. It's so true. And and the way to actually get out of it is to actually take accountability, responsibility, have some real remorse, acknowledge it, ask forgiveness. Because even if the person doesn't forgive you, it's really not about that.
Yes.
It starts being like, I'm a prisoner to my own bad decisions, habits. See, this is what I love about you and your friend, like the people you talk to in this podcast.
Yeah.
I hate, and have hated since I was 7 years old, this idea that like Black men are not accountable and not responsible and not whatever. Because literally everything I know about accountability, responsibility, apologizing, all that, I've learned it all from Black men from the time I was young.
Yeah.
I don't like when anybody says it. It's not my, like, I'm not allowed to weigh in if Black women say it, but I don't like that either. Like this idea of like, you know what I mean? But that's not my place to weigh in on. But like, man, these conversations, like, since I was a young boy, it's like Black men saying your decisions, you will live with your decisions in one way or another. Mm-hmm. And until you get right with yourself, you're the master of your own. You're building yourself a prison or a castle, and it's all based on your decisions.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and there's something Midwest about that too.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because that's who taught it to me, but it's like there's a Midwest Black man thing about that.
Yeah. I think that element too is what kind of either draws or repels people to our podcast. It's a lot of accountability. It's a lot of
Yes.
like, you know what I mean? Like some people just blow smoke up your ass, and I'll be on there like, you ain't got no dog in you. Where's the dog at? You don't want it bad enough, you know?
Man, get your soft skills up.
Yeah.
Get your soft skills up. Where's your soft skills? Like, do you, you know, what's the experience you're giving other people when you interact with them?
Yeah.
Because like if you're asking them for a favor, then talk to them like you're asking for a favor, you know, or like, well, you know, yeah. It either repels or because so much of the like, I made $1 million on the internet. I'm going to teach you how to do it.
Right.
And then they just make you feel good and you give them your money, but they never give you any gems. Cause like, man, always what my 7-year-old just wanted to fast Ramadan. She loves Islam. And she fasts when she's at home. She went to school, and I was like, "Did you fast today?" Because they don't have to.
Yeah.
And my 17-year-old. So I got a 7-year-old, 17-year-old. The 17-year-old, I didn't wake her up in the morning to eat, so she had to fast without having eaten in the morning. And so my 7-year-old comes home, and she's like, "Well, I fasted till lunch." I said, "That's not fasting at all. I woke you up, we ate breakfast, and then you just ate lunch." I'm like, "You didn't fast at all." And she was crying, and I could tell, like, all right, you got to be a good dad now. You got to be a dad, but you got to be a good dad. So I was like, fasting is special because it's hard.
Yes.
That's why it's special. That's why when you fast, you feel special because it's hard. It's easier to eat. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm not mad at you. But I'm like, look at your older sister. She didn't, I forgot to, I overslept, did not wake her up. That's fasting.
Yeah.
And it's different from what you did. You made the decision. And she's like, I'm like, okay, this is the feeling of regretting your decision. Like, no one's mad at you. I'm not mad. Your mom's not mad. Nobody's mad. Your sister's not mad. You are feeling the regret of you did the easy thing instead of the hard thing. And now you can tell that you didn't have the same special outcome. You know what I mean? And so she was like, Daddy, starting tomorrow, I'm fasting every day. I'm like, okay, I know that's where you want to go. We're not gonna do that either. Yeah. You're 7. Like you can't fast every day. Yeah. But like Saturday when you stay home, we're gonna fast. But yeah, man, it's that like that home training, that and we're supposed to be talking about team. I'm sorry, man, I'm all over. But this is what I try to convey to people. This is what I try to convey to my white listeners that are like, you're so great, we love you. And I'm like, it's because I was raised by Black people. That's what you like about me, whether it's musically, spiritually, politically, my personality, all the things you like are because of that. And I just need that to be recognized. Yeah. I just need, like, I want that to be recognized. You know what I mean? And
Quick announcement. Over the years, we've frequently been asked by the listeners of our show if we would ever open up our platform to the public for advertising. We've always been interested in doing it, but in the past, we never had the systems in place to make it work properly. I'm proud to announce that we are now officially accepting advertising from the public on Super Duty Tough Work, meaning if you are a business owner or an artist and would like to create more awareness about your product, service, or release on our platform, we're now in a position to be able to do that. For more information, email us at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. That's superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you would like to promote, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible about whether it's a good fit and go from there. Thanks for your time. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. Yeah, I think that doing the hard thing is like such a metaphor, and it's an unpopular message in a lot of like you're saying, in the music industry. The music industry is like, you can do it overnight success. It's easy. Anybody can rap. I'm not a rapper. I'm a hustler. Look at me. And it's like, nah,
I don't even
man.
write.
Yeah, I don't even write. It's like you got the not writing movement, further making this shit look easier than it actually is. And it's like, you do hard things, man. You realize like, yo, man, this teaches me something that I can't get out of anything else. It's the grit, the dog, the determination. You can teach skills, but you can't teach determination. You get that through experience, through like desire, from wanting it, from failures and wins. And you're like, no, I see this thing and I want that shit enough to go through these hard times. But if you never test yourself, it's like a muscle. You got to build it up, and
witnessing it in other people.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So like my discomfort being around you for those times, and I was very comfortable with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we're friends, like you're my brother. Like I love you. Yeah. But the discomfort that I'm feeling is because you did hard things that I hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
And on some level, I have to know that. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is my peer. Yeah. So me seeing it in you is different than seeing it in like a Sadiq.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like Sadiq feels older than me, and Sadiq just feels like a different caliber of guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. A different type of. He's a different guy. He's different. You know what I mean? But me and you are so like, we're peers.
Yes.
So I'm like, seeing you do it, it's like, I could be doing that, but I haven't committed. I haven't given myself those gifts yet.
Yeah.
Period. I have not shown up for myself and my business and my career in that way yet. Yeah. And then part of it wasn't until I had to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's why you were the first person I called. I was like, all right.
Yeah. People don't know. Like it's that's one thing I always appreciated, that you saw that. Cause we talked about, I think when I was on yours, about just like how Mikey was like, Print, I really like what you're doing. I really like how you always handle business, like X, Y, and Z. And sometimes I'll just be moving and don't think about it. And it makes me stop sometimes. Like, hey man, you're doing good work. Keep going. Just
because Mikey was never scared to work. Like that was one thing that everybody knew. He was never scared to be uncomfortable. He lived for discomfort.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean? To the point where that's part of what harmed him. Is like, you know what I mean? Like he sought discomfort. I think that was him seeking a type of discomfort. That's where you got to know the difference between. You do have to have some guidance between like what things are just bad for me and what things don't feel good.
Yes. Yeah. That's a tough conversation, man. And it's like the work ethic is there, and the opportunity. He was. I mean, the time we were on Rhymesayers, he was still he had started putting out side projects. We were still all in that space. He was a little bit ahead of us in that regard. You know what I mean? Like. With his Oliver Hart stuff.
And it was weird music.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he made stuff that I had to admit to him at one point, like, man, I don't feel comfortable when I listen to some of this music you make.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're not comfortable with yourself. I'm like, maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like some of the music was him being so uncomfortable that it was just like, man, what is this like rock music and these like sweaters you're wearing? And like, there's part of me where like he got to a place where like, I'm like, man, I wish 47-year-old me could have known 27-year-old Mikey.
Yeah.
Cause like now I could be there for that. Like I wasn't, cause man, I don't know when he started, but at some point that guy started making himself uncomfortable on purpose.
Yes.
To invest in himself. And it's like, of course he can break dance. Of course he learned how to do construction so he could build a studio in his space. Of course he like pestered anybody that could teach him anything.
Yeah.
Was like, he would be up in their face until he learned what he needed to learn. He'd make a bunch of mistakes. He'd fail in front of everybody and would just be like, yeah, but I'm failing learning. You're just failing.
Yeah. You're not even trying. You know what I mean? You're too fucking scared to try. So, he fucking tell you. Nah,
yeah, man.
It's a special dude right there, man. Oh, yeah. Before we forget, I do want to talk about Ant for a while.
Okay, yeah.
because we've talked about everybody on your team, and I want to make sure we talk about him because when you leave a situation like Rhymesayers, all your records were produced by Ant.
Yeah.
You released the first album produced by Just Unjust, and it's like not Ant's production, and that was your first full length self release like of new music. And then you recently kind of dropped another record with Ant, and it's like you toured with Ant. Talk about your relationship with Ant throughout the transition. Like, what were those conversations like with Ant?
Well, the thing is, like, so before I left, and this is what I say when I was talking about just the communication thing. For years before I left, I was never quiet about what I didn't like that was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I never was quiet. I always was really, like, you know me, I'm a very expressive person.
Yeah.
And it's to my, betterment and detriment at the same time. But like, nobody ever wonders where they stand with me. Nobody ever wonders what I think about what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, nobody ever wonders. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guys who came around after that period that I'm talking about, they never wondered, like, does Ali respect my music?
Yeah.
I never even did say anything. You know what I mean? There's people that just knew, like, and so with Ant, like, he knew all of this. And he told me before I even said the word, like before I even acknowledged to myself that I should just be doing this on my own, he said, well, hey man, it sounds like you might leave. And if you do, I want you to know that our relationship is not because we are on this label.
Yeah.
And it's not based on that. Like, our music, like the music that me and Ant make is very special to him too.
Yeah.
Like, his relationship with Sean is like, that's an all the time thing. There's a business reality there. That's his main thing. You know what I mean? But just in terms of the specialness of like what it's like for two people to lock in and make music, I know that it's equal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's almost like the Muslim men that I know that have two wives and they really love both these women. You know what I mean? It's like that with Ant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and also our friendship, you know? And so he told me before I left, and that meant so much to me, you know? And so, yeah. And then with Slug didn't say it in so many words, but he also knew the frustrations I was having. And he was saying something he said to me that will always stick with me in that period. Or I don't think he was saying this, but I think he said, you know what, how I approach things is no one can hurt me. Someone can either help me or they can't help me. But no one can hurt me. Only I can hurt me.
That's real.
And the way that I took that is like, I'm talking to this system of people at the label, like they're harming me. But the thing is, they're just not helping me anymore in the way that I want to be helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, that gave me a mental framework for me to see, like, this isn't helping me anymore.
Yeah.
And so instead of stay here and be mad at y'all, I'll just go do, like, I'm saying, I think that an artist can be a podcaster and a teacher and a Muslim imam and a lecturer and like speaking at mosques, and you know what I mean? And it's like, no one's ever done that before. What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
And like, and it's interesting, when I left that booking agent that wasn't working, that wasn't like invested, I finally got on the phone with him and I was like, let me talk to him directly. And I said, look, this is what I want to do. I spelled out what I wanted to do. And I didn't know that had never been told to him before.
Yeah.
Because I've been saying this for years. And he said, you know what? You should do that. You can do that. That's perfectly legitimate. You're the only artist on my roster that would benefit. And so for me to invest the time to do that would be irresponsible.
Yeah.
So I took that and I was like, well, maybe that's what's going on at Rhymesayers. Like, you know what I mean? It would be different if Atmosphere and Aesop Rock and you know, wanted to do podcasts and lectures and learning series. But for me to be the only one doing that, and I'm just not the flagship artist. Like, I'm not the head honcho here. So, you know what I mean? So when both of them, Ant said it very direct, Slug said it more, which is like, that's how they are. Ant's
that's
direct,
how Slug communication.
Slug is poetic. You know what I mean? honestly, it's like I needed their permission to come into that thing. And I felt like not their permission, but like them kind of giving me this thing that like we would understand if you needed to do something different.
Yeah.
Because those guys mean so much to me
Yeah.
that for me to lose their friendship would not be that would be a huge loss.
Yeah.
Even if like I haven't toured with them or played with them since then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if we will or not, but that would be a loss on a heart level. If I gained all this and lost my friends,
Yeah.
This would not be a celebratory tale.
No.
So I left, and then they both did a public. They showed me and everyone there too. So like my first tour, Ant came to a couple of the shows.
Go.
And it's like everybody in that label knows that he's going out of town and what he's going out of town to do.
Yeah.
And then Slug, the last day of we did a tour to celebrate the podcast. Mm-hmm. He came to the last show in Madison, was on stage with me. He was my first like in-person interview on the podcast. And again, he's setting the tone that we're still cool. I support what you're doing.
Yes.
No matter how anybody feels about it. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that really meant a lot, man.
That's dope. Yeah. There comes a point too. I had it in a little bit of different angle where like you kind of realize like your friends are more important than a lot of the musical shit. And you're like, the music is secondary to the relationships, like the genuine ones you have in this shit. And you might have to make decisions that like, hey, I don't want to sacrifice my friendship over this thing. And so you make sure that shit is intact, man. And yeah, I think.
Yeah,
you know,
man, I met with several lawyers, you know, and they all were like, you know how lawyers are, sue them for millions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I sat with one person that said, you know, and he was a black man. He comes from hip hop.
Yeah.
And he said, take all of the things that you want. And when I'm not talking about, this is not about Rhymesayers, but he was something else. He was like, take all the things you want, but include in that the relationship. And then prioritize them based on that. If you get all the business things you want in this thing and you lose the relationship, is that a win?
Right.
Because if that's not a win, then you needed to know that going in. You're not willing to risk the friendship for what you say you want. So go into it knowing, what could I ask for that maintains the relationship? So he's real. Like, you know, you just, you got to know that. And so, we released that first project on our own and we learned how much we didn't know. So that's when we decided to partner with with Mello for the.
So when you talk about how much you didn't know, like you mean like being your own label, from distribution to publicity to touring to the business side. That was like your crash course.
Yeah. So like pressure. You said, when I was at the label, I never learned. And it's probably equal. I was never taught and I never asked, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't like, I knew the things that I touched. Yeah. So like, I know there's a publicist because I talked to that publicist. Right. I know there's, I know that there's someone mixing the record because I talked to that person. I know there's a manufacturing side of this. And honestly, that short conversation with Alchemist, he gave me a lot of men. Yeah. And then you find people that do this work. Yeah. They're so happy to give you this whole thing about gatekeepers and like they're trying to hold us out and da da da. That's never been my experience. Anybody that does the work, if you're doing the work, they'll tell you everything because they just respect the fact that you're working. Yeah. Like, man, recognize sacrifice. And that's, you know, like, man, all my favorite rappers won't necessarily be on songs with me. Yeah. But I can always be around them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, they know that like when it comes to this and this, this guy, we're equals. Yes. You know what I mean? I can always get on the phone with Black Thought. He can't put me on Roots Picnic because it's like Roots Picnic doesn't want to see this. You know what I mean? It's like they don't want to see that. But in terms of like us being us, it's like they'll always give you, like he'll show you exactly how he did everything because he's like, you're working, you care about that mic the same way I do, you know? But so the parts that I did not see, I didn't know. So like, I didn't know, you know, just a lot of the stuff about how to flip the manufacturing, and distribution was a whole thing that I did not know about.
Yeah.
And I thought I had a partner. Part of it was that it's something else that I think I mentioned to you before that I want to mention is like, so we were supposed to have a distribution partner for both of these albums.
Yeah.
For the Love and Service album with Unjust and the Satisfied Soul album with Ant.
Okay.
And they probably would have done a great job. So after October 7th, I've always been pro-Palestinian. These people are hardcore Zionists.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about them. But if I'm real with myself, when I look in hindsight, I didn't love what they were doing on a soul level with like the other music they did.
Yeah.
I was looking at them as like, they know how to do the utilitarian things. So it's like, I wasn't really there on a heart level. And so they ghosted me. And
Yeah.
we put tens of thousands of dollars into a record that we thought we were going to have distribution and a partner on. And they just stopped responding.
Wow.
Like they just ghosted us. And so we were like, damn. So we kind of had to put it out on our own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were already like the marketing campaign was already going.
Yeah.
So like we couldn't pivot and like we couldn't do that. We had to put it out on our own because we got abandoned while things were already, manufacturing was already happening. Like all this stuff was already happening. So, so I could say like they did me dirty, and they did. But when I look back on it, this is what I'm saying. Like I don't gain anything from a narrative that they did me dirty. Like I don't learn anything from that.
Right.
So I'm like, man, what I did was I tried to start a relationship with somebody that I was just using them. I didn't believe in what they were doing. I didn't love what they were doing. And so as soon as something serious happened between us and we see the diverging paths, it's like, oh yeah, we weren't connected on a heart level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even not that it's not like me and Mello from Mello Music are best friends.
Right. Right.
We might become that. The more I talk to this guy, the more I'm like, man, I really like him a lot, But when we sat with him, it's like I saw the type of respect he had for the artistry of these not famous Black men that he champions.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, what he likes about hip hop is the mind of Homeboy, Sandman, Quelle Chris, Odyssey, Apollo Brown. He likes that. Yeah. Like he sees a genius in humanity in hip hop. I could just tell from his work. I'm like, what he does resonates with me. Yeah. So that was a different thing. So if something comes up between us, we have some kind of shared worldview that I'm not just using him for what he can do for me.
That's dope. And so the Mellow thing, so you had this record that was already you couldn't slow that one down. And that kind of explains why you kind of put out the second record in two phases, because you were working on the Mellow thing at the same time to put things together. Or was the plan always to do 5 songs in a note? Right.
No. So yeah, we made both albums at the same time. Like I made both those records simultaneously, hand in hand. So in my mind, it was like, okay, with Unjust, I was in Istanbul processing what happened in Minneapolis. Like me and all my they tried to cancel us in the city. I just happened to be in Minneapolis at the moment. They went from they meaning the music scene, went from being like Rhymesayers are our heroes to being like Rhymesayers are the worst people ever. It's a network of abusers and gatekeepers. And it just went from like, you're the greatest ever to like, you're the problem. You're what's wrong with this entire city. You killed George Floyd, basically. Yeah. It was an extreme shift. And so when I moved to Istanbul, I was using the Unjust music to process that. Okay. You know what I mean? And then I started coming back and being with Ant. And I was like, oh, I actually do still love these places. I still love all these people. Even the people I don't talk to anymore, I still love them. And even the people that tried to cancel me, it's like, man, I still love y'all. You know what I mean? Some of your critique is probably right. A lot of it's, I don't think is, but like, it's like one of them was healing. The other one was healed. Yeah. Like Love and Service is about healing. Satisfied Soul is about the healing that has happened. You know what I mean? So I make them simultaneously. So that's why this distributor was supposed to put both of them out. I played them both. Yeah. And they're like, this is amazing. So we had Satisfied Soul done, and we were just going to put both of them out on our own because we're like, let's just put them out. And so we planned a tour, and Ant actually agreed to go on the tour. So we did a tour back in November, December.
Mm-hmm.
So the tour was already booked and we couldn't move it. Ant was so generous to go. He did my tour in between Atmosphere tours.
Yeah.
And he's got a family and kids and stuff. So like, and he doesn't love tour. Like he'll do it, but it's not his favorite thing. So I'm like, okay. So when we went to Mello, everything was done. I mean, mixed, mastered, artwork, everything was done.
Mm.
And I just said, look, we tried to do this on our own and we failed. Here's what I want to do with you. And he even said to me, what terms do you want? I said it. He just made a contract that said those exact things. But he basically said, I don't want to rush for your date though. Yeah. I said, okay, but can I have some music out? Because we got to do the tour. Can I put out the music that I think will work on tour?
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah. So he had the idea, we'll do the EP and then we'll do the full thing later.
Okay.
And then he had really cool ideas about, you know, the manufacturing was expensive because we went we hired Brent Rollins and we told him, do whatever you want. Yeah. Do what you want. And he was like, okay, you sure? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Do you be Brent Rollins? You're Brent Rollins, be Brent Rollins. So he did. And so Mello was like, okay, these are the tiers. This is how we sell this. This part will cover the manufacturing. This part will do this. Then we do this with distributors. We do that with this. We have the, you know, he really did a lot of creative problem solving around all that stuff that was like, let's turn these problems into strengths.
Yeah.
And man, just his transparency, like it was very refreshing.
That's dope.
That he straight up, one of the things I was like, once I started being independent, I'm like, I see the back end of things now. Mm. So like, you know, I know just similar, like, you know, you can see your analytics on social media, you start learning what works.
Yeah.
Now I also see when an order comes in.
Yep.
Because it's my merch store. It's me and BK and it's our merch store. So I see if I make a certain post, I get
X amount of
12
sales.
orders. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I immediately when I do this, 12 orders come in.
Right. If
I try to do it again next week, only 2 orders come in. Mm-hmm. If I wait a month, 24 orders come in.
Yeah.
If I do this, so it's like being able to see the back end. It's made me excited to be creative in business ways that I never was before, because I wasn't seeing all of that, you know.
Man. Yeah.
And with Mello, like, man, one of the things I was like, I need transparency, and so I don't want to say the things he did, but
yeah, he
did some really good faith things for us to have a level of transparency. And man, I told him what went wrong on the first record, and he said, first conversation, he's like, I don't have any magic, and I'm just going to do all the things that you did that didn't work on the last album.
Yeah.
He was like, I've been doing them longer, so I hope I've learned some stuff along the way, but I have no magic, and I'm not promising you that I'm going to give you this super whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's like, I will promise you that I'll be transparent with you and I'll fight alongside you.
Yeah.
And so far that's what they've done. So it's dope, you know. But if I didn't have this other experience, both of being at a label where I didn't feel the same transparency, and then trying to do it on my own, me and Brendan on our own.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what to say to him. We cut straight to the chase because now I had experience. So, and it reminded me, I never told you this, but it reminded me of those conversations, like seeing you and Sadiq talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if other artists are having the same level of conversation that I'm having now. Because I'm like, I'm bringing you a complete project.
Yeah.
I've completely made it. I know what it means. I know why it's dope. I know, you know, I put my own money into it. I've tried this. I know what I need. I know what I don't need. I know what I'll accept, what I won't accept. I know what I want my terms to be.
Yeah.
So that conversation was different than me complaining and begging. I used to complain and beg, just like you do when you live at your mom's house. I used to beg and complain.
Yeah.
And I went from that to just having peer conversations.
That's
pure
amazing.
And peer, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing, man.
So I'm just trying to be a little more like you every day. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you and I having those conversations now, you know what I'm saying? Because now we can talk about nuts and bolts things that maybe we couldn't talk about 3-5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, which is why I was like, yo, I got to get him on here now. I know he got a completely different understanding of the game.
Because I've been wanting to come on here, but now I know. Like, man, if I would have come on a year ago, I would have been like, Brent, man, it's hard. Exactly. It's tough on these independent streets.
I ain't want you on here with that energy. I want you on here with that victorious, I got it, I understand the game type of energy.
Right. It's like, you know what? Yeah, we'll have boss talk when you've. It's like this. I love this for you. Right. Yeah, and it's like, you know, and you see that you don't tell somebody that over the phone. Yeah. At some point, I remember telling Brendan, I was like, you know, I think Prince sees what we're doing now. Yeah. I just felt a different. Yeah. Like, I think you remember when it was like a while ago, we started trading voice notes again. And I was like, man, we're having a different conversation now. And I was like, oh, because when you're doing that point, you're not like, I'm going to show these. You can't try to show these people. Right. You can't be like, I'm going to go show these people that I'm doing better without them. Right. You have that moment where people first break up and they lose 10 pounds and they start getting their hair different, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's temporary. That's you're trying to show somebody. Like, let's see where you're at in a couple of years, because that's you. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then you don't realize. Then people start telling you that they're seeing a glow up. You know what I mean? Because you're just doing the thing. Yeah. And people, you know what I mean? I start getting messages. I see how you moving out here, OG. Right. Like, what? You see what? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh. Yeah. And then I start seeing stuff that I'm doing show up in my peers' feed. Yeah. I'm like, oh, they're doing stuff that I'm doing. Like, oh, I'm contributing to the conversation now. Yeah, dude. It's different. Yeah. That's just a beautiful feeling. You know, when people acknowledge it. Because like you're saying, after a while, you're not doing it to prove nobody wrong. You're just doing it. It's the right thing to do. This is what needs to be done. I'm doing it. And then other people, oh, I see how you move. That's pretty dope. That's pretty slick. Oh, I like that. That was inspiring. I learned that on the weight loss thing, because I would go hard when I was about to be in front of people on stage. Yeah. In the first, because that part's been 3.5 years now. So like I would be at the gym and eating right and everything if I knew I was going to go be in front of people. And then once that was over, I'd start crashing out again. So I started realizing, why am I having these spikes? I'm like, oh, I'm still trying to look good in front of other people. Like, we got to get past that. That's not the reason we're doing this. You know, this has to just be because I want to feel good living in my body. Yeah, that's so real, man. Definitely a metaphor for a lot of shit in the music industry. Decisions that are being made, and I do this because those people are watching, or this person's watching. It's like, it doesn't really work that way. Have you ever touched one of those chains that rappers wear? Nah. So like, I've had friends, I won't say their names, but like, I might have already told these stories, so people might put it together. But I've had people put their chains on me. Yeah. And it's hollow. Yeah. Mad light, I would imagine. Like, it ain't heavy at all, right? Like you even hear it. I'll say this one. I saw a video recently of Jim Jones putting his jewelry on. Yeah. And when he puts one chain on, you're like, yo. Then he puts the second chain on and it touches the first one, and you hear it echo inside the piece. It's hollow inside there. And it just makes me feel like, and then I was with Yasin Bey when he was buying some jewelry. Yeah. And that's not jewelry that he can go like that. Yeah. Because if you don't know what that is, or if you don't genuinely respond to it, it's not shiny bling jewelry. Yeah. Like, he was buying this because he believes in it. It's an investment. Yeah. He was buying it from this certain person that he knows. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't flash jewelry. This is like, it's different, you know, when you start. Not for everybody else, right? It's like, for me, because I like it. You know, this is for me. And like, if you don't understand it, then it's like, yeah, because you're not me. Right. This was for me. Yeah. And it just puts everything in different perspective. Nah, that's fucking dope, man. Well, shit. Hey, let's talk about what you got coming up next. Because you got a bunch of, you and Abilities are rocking out, right? Yeah. When do you leave for tour? Just like a little under a month. Okay. So dope. So yeah, that's the other thing is like, you know, so not having, you know, my former DJ as my guy anymore, it just kind of opened things up too. And like, you know, I'm like, man, you know, that was a very reliable, we had that dialed in, you know, that was easy. Yeah. But then doing the thing with Ant, it's like, man, that was a dream come true. Where like being able to tour with him.
Yeah.
Like it just feels so different doing like I did songs I've never done live before. Because it's like that's the dude that I made this song with. Yeah. And there's something about Ant being like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like we like it. And so it started translating to the audience.
Yeah.
They're like, this isn't their favorite song, but we always loved this song and we're mad that the audience didn't like it. So when we would do certain joints, it's just like, man, I'm like standing different.
That's dope.
So yeah, and so then for this one, me and Max were talking about something else, and he was just like, "Hey, how come we've never performed together?" I'm like, "Yeah,
that's true."
So yeah, I mean, I've never worked with. I've had a lot of great DJs, man. BK is a great DJ.
Yeah,
and he helped me figure out who I am on stage. And like I said, Last Word was a very, very solid DJ, but a great tour manager, and like we did great work together. Yeah. And he was there during the transition period. You know what I mean? So it's like I will forever owe part of this whole thing to him, even though he's not happy with me. But yeah, and then doing that thing with Ant, and then now, but like with abilities, like I've never.
That's a different level. Yeah.
Like it's a different type of skill.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like, honestly, if we're just, so like when you were with Rare Groove, like Groove and Brendan are like, those are dudes that know music.
Yes.
So like with Brendan's going to play like jazz, soul, funk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Brendan's playing all this stuff that I'm like, I feel that, you know what I mean? And Groove can do all that. But remember that day in Canada when Groove just started playing a hip hop set after our show?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you had 100 of those and don't even. Yeah. But like one of those nights it was like 8 people left over from the show. Like nobody was even there, but we were just like, we were in there celebrating. And it's like, like Max knows music abilities. He knows music. What Groove and Brendan do is different.
Yes.
And it's extremely valuable.
Yes.
But like, and Max is a producer. But as a turntablist, I'm just like, man, I'm excited to see like what that could be.
Yeah. That's going to be really dope. Really dope.
So yeah, I'm happy to, and I mean, me and Max didn't always super get along. Yeah. Max got sober. Yeah. Max is DJ Abilities for people that don't know. Yeah. DJ Abilities got sober, and he's about to become a yoga instructor.
Yeah, works out and got buffed. Even hitting the weights.
So when we started talking,
shout out to Billy. He's probably listening to this right now. Shout out to Max.
Dude, he said things to me that I was like, oh, you're one of the people that's been really deeply reflecting and working on yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, he said something to me that was so dope. He hit me up one time and it took me a few days to respond. And he's like, hey, from situations that we've both been in the past, when people don't respond, it's triggering for me. And it starts making me wonder about how sincere they are. Yeah. So I need you to respond right away. Otherwise I'm going to just so you know, I feel it. And I'm like, yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you for being so grown to know yourself and communicate what matters to you in a way that's undeniable. And now I know exactly what to do. Don't leave a message sitting for a day. Yeah. Don't do that. That makes him feel a certain way. I know exactly what to do about it. It's impossible not to have a good working relationship with somebody that knows himself that well.
It's true. Because even if you don't agree, what the fuck they do. You're like,
that's his thing. Okay. We all have our thing. Yes. Just tell me your thing. If you got it, but you got to own your thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's nothing wrong with like I live in a different country. If I don't respond for a day, it might just be, I might be sleeping.
Yeah. There's an 8-hour difference or 9-hour difference, something like that. Yeah.
So that's his thing. You know what I mean? But now that I know that, I can make sure I'm responding. And if it's been 8 hours, I can be like, yo, man, just waking up in Istanbul, got your message. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Let's talk tomorrow. And he'll be like, I can just feel it in his response. Thank you, brother. Like he's just saying like, all right, I've been heard. My experience has been taken into account. Yeah. And I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. I'm going to be at the Columbus show. I know that. I think that's April. Yeah. I think I'll be here in April or something. Right. If I remember correctly. So yeah, I will be there.
And then also another thing that I've been meaning to talk to you about is another thing I saw from your inspiration is that, you know, Unjust did animated videos for most of the album that we did together, the Love and Service album. And so we're going to do a short run of showing that, showing that film.
Like a film tour.
Yeah. And I'm saying, man, I was there in Minneapolis when you pulled up by yourself, hopped out, did a talk with the audience, showed the film. Yeah. And actually, Fahim still remembers that. He was like 10 when that happened. But I was sitting there and I was like, your Uncle Print made a whole movie. And he did all that. Like, we're all here watching his movie. I'm like, don't forget this. Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. So y'all think about doing something like that with the, or is just going to do something like that?
Yeah. Starting to put, he's already animated over almost all the videos on the album.
Oh, nice.
And so we kind of have it already. It kind of exists already. Yeah. So the plan was always to release it as its own visual piece. Yeah. Like a visual version of the album. Yeah. But the idea of like, you know, going and showing it to people, because now we also have a story about this album. This album basically, in a lot of ways, got shelved because, like, during the time of what happened in Gaza in the last year and a half, a Muslim rapper and a Jewish producer made music about love and service and have a song about that, and we put it out together. And how come people don't know about this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it would be great. Yeah, I got the idea from Oscar Michaud, first Black filmmaker. He's got a book I read when I first started getting a documentary filmmaker, and it was like Oscar Michaud, he was talking about, he saw, what's that fucking movie that came out? Birth of a Nation. So Birth of a Nation came out and Black people were just like, this is fucked up. He walked past the movie theater, saw a bunch of Black people protesting. He had never been a filmmaker. He was just a regular dude. And he was like, we can protest, or we can make our own shit. And he was like, I'm going to learn how to make a film too. And so he started writing. He learned how to make a film. And then he was like, you know, okay, how do I spread this? And at that time, they would make one reel of a whole movie. He would put it in the back of his car and drive to Chicago for 3 days and play it, you know, 5 times and say he was getting like 2,000 and 2,500 people out to watch his first films and stuff. And then he'd drive to Charlotte. Then he would just do that shit. And I was like, yo, I'm going to do that shit. I was like, why don't people do that with their films anymore? You know? So that's what made me do it. If I wouldn't have read that book on Oscar Michaud, I never would have thought to even do that.
And Melvin Van Peebles did it too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's
sweet. Yeah. So you know their Sweetback's Badass song.
Yeah.
So that's Melvin Van Peebles. He took that film. He shot that himself because he used to make blaxploitation stuff for white studios and he hated it. So he's like, I'm gonna make our own version. So he made a blaxploitation film, but run by him. And then Mario Van Peebles, his son, made a movie called Badass. Yeah. You got to see that movie because it's basically him playing his dad and doing the reenactment of making Sweetback.
Oh, nice.
And doing the thing. And then Rudy Ray Moore did the same thing. Yeah. Like Rudy Ray Moore made his own movies, did all his own stuff. And this is what I'm saying. My whole thing, the number one thing for me with the race conversation is just give credit. Just give the credit because all these, you know, independent stories and all this, we made it in the basement and sold it out the trunk. And it's like, great. Just acknowledge where it came from.
Yes.
Just acknowledge that Mary Kay is Madam C.J. Walker for white people. Just acknowledge that you learned that from somewhere. That's all. Yep. And it's just like, man, people don't even want to acknowledge that Black music is Black music. They're just like, no one invents music. Okay, but you don't say that for other world music. You don't be like, you know what I mean? Nobody says like, you know, this isn't so-and-so. Like, man, come on, man. Yeah. Just give the credit. Just give the credit. That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah, it don't hurt you. It makes you actually look better. It's like it makes you look better when you give people their credit for shit. You know?
Yes and no. You know, if you add something to it, it does. So like Eminem was like, yo, Cool G Rap, Tretch, so-and-so. He gave his credit because you can see what he added.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you can see what he got from Cool G Rap. But then you also see that, okay, this guy also brought something to the table though. Yeah. If you didn't bring anything to the table and you're just the white version of something.
Oh yeah, you're just stealing at that point. Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to cover your sources. Yeah. Because you'd be like, if they ever see the real, if the real thing is good, like You know what I mean? You can like, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. That's cool. But if you ever hear, yeah, like if you ever hear the Big Mama Thornton version, you're just like, why was I ever listening to this Elvis Presley version?
Yeah.
If you just steal it, you can't tell your sources. If you add on, then you love your sources because you're like, yo, homage, and your sources are like, yo, you're the next generation of us.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's like you're cutting off the line, you know.
Then Chuck D will be like, check out this Brother Ali record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, Chuck, he's another one. People tell me all the time. Chuck D and Cornel West and Slug and Zach Quillen, like those are people that I travel around places and they're like, you need to know that Chuck D loves you.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like he told me, you know what I mean? Or like, you need to know that Cornel West, there's Muslims I meet that like went to Harvard and they're like, I don't listen to rap. I'm sorry. But like, I took this class with Cornel West and he was like, you're Muslim. Do you know Brother Ali?
That's exactly how
they're like, man, Dr. West made me listen to you.
Yeah.
It's like, like, why would you not actually want to be part of the community that inspired you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then why not just admit like, hey, Black people are the original people. So all their greatness is like, yeah, that's my dad.
Yep. Yeah.
It's dope. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep. And that's the whole problem. It's like they can't live without you and hate to be compared to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time.
Oh.
So it's like we got to lie about we got to lie about who you are on the inside. We can't front on who you are on the outside. We can't watch what you do on the mic with the basketball and you know what I mean? Yeah. So we got to be like, well, you know what I mean? You're not as smart or you're not as creative or you're not as moral or you're not as whatever, because that's just a narrative we can spin and we point the camera at what we want to point the camera at to try to craft that, to try to write you out of all that stuff. But it's just like, man, just be part of the family and then you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, it's really simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Stop, but you're not going to own it.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to. You're not going to own it.
Yeah.
If you tell the whole story, you're just not going to be the owner, dominator of everything. You're just going to be part of something. Yeah. But it's like, I don't want to be part of nothing. I want to own it. It has to be mine.
Yeah, that's it.
Your music has to belong to me forever because I wrote the first check. What?
Yeah.
What if you made that money back from that first check times 1,000,000?
Right.
Nah, I still own your music. Why?
Yeah.
Because I wrote the check. Oh, man. Yeah. Why you own my music? Why do you own my, you know what I mean?
Right. Quick announcement. We have officially launched the Super Duty Tough Work website, and we would like to officially invite you as a listener of the show to go check it out. The website is superdutytoughwork.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork.net. Go there and check out the site. You can do 4 things on there right now. The first thing you can do is listen to the podcast. Second thing you can do is purchase books. The third thing you can do is book coaching calls. And the fourth thing you can do on the website is purchase ads for your business on the show. So this is the first time you have been able to do that all in one place. So please take a second, go over to superdutytoughwork.net, sign up for our email newsletter over there, and support the movement. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. Yeah, that's a fucked up conversation, but the music and entertainment industry is very weird about that intellectual property conversation. It's like you want to get stroked, get in one of them industries.
Again, it's like, okay. Also, if we tell the truth about where the music comes from Black people in America, period. Every form of American music. if we would acknowledge that, then we could stop being so surprised when the music industry is slavery.
Yeah.
It comes from slavery. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're not allowed to own you anymore, so we'll just switch it up to sharecropping.
Yeah.
And like, that's exactly what Spotify is. So like, why are we surprised? Man, Spotify is only giving me a 35th of a cent for every stream. And it's like, yes, because that's, you know what I mean? And
Set
like,
up on that. Yeah.
Like you see all the ways that people were done dirty. Like not only did Black people originate all the human stuff, also all of the ways that people are oppressed were done to Black people first. And like, that's where it all gets worked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like caring about that isn't charity. It's like nobody's going to be human until the first humans are recognized as human. Yeah. No, everybody's humanity is in question until that.
Yeah. That's real. That's so fucking real. And yeah, the music.
And that's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's it. You know what I mean? You hate yourself, but brother, your fans are white, man. But you're trying to tell us, but aren't you white? Man, you start talking like this. It's funny. People be like, Brother Ali lied and said he was Black. No, not really. I was confused. I didn't know how to understand the fact that I'm albino. My mom's adopted, and Black people have been telling me I was Black since I was a little kid. Yeah, I had some confusion. And if I wasn't clear enough in the beginning, me and you had a conversation about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Early. So it's like, okay. But then the other thing is like the second you start saying certain things, like with a white audience, they're like, we thought you were one of us. You know
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, oh man, you become not white. You be like, man, you're racist against white people. It's like, I'm technically whiter than all of y'all.
It's like, that's impossible.
Chappelle always says, Brother Ali is the whitest of all the whites. He's white and albino, whitest. He's like, but man, somehow he's the blackest motherfucker we know. I don't understand. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, man, you talk like, I saw the conversation you and Jawar had about, is it worth it to make a statement in the music? Is it worth it?
Yeah, yeah.
No. Not on a business level. No. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like, for me personally, and Brendan feels this way too. It's the price of admission. If you're going to be, if you're not Black and you're in a Black art form and your fans are not Black, you just have to tell the truth about what it is. Yeah. Just be honest about what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I understand why people don't talk about Palestine. They turn the faucet off on you all the way. I understand on a certain level why white artists don't talk about it, because your white fans will be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
This isn't what I was here for. I was here because on some deep down level, I'm happy that you're white and this good.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're this good and you're white, because we hate the fact there's something that we can't do.
Yep. Yep.
And so like, if Black people are the only good rappers, then there's something we can't do. And so you show up being dope and they seem to like you, like Black people seem to be treating you like a peer. It's like, man, let's freaking go. And then you start telling the truth. It's like, no. Like, man, hold on.
Yeah. We ain't signed up for all of that stuff, man.
You're breaking the unspoken agreement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird how there's definitely like, you have to think about that from a business perspective. Like some guys, like you mentioned earlier, like some people's brands are built off of that. And those guys can kind of take it there more. But it's like, when your brand is not built on that and you start getting into that bag, you better be prepared, because even the guys whose brands are built on that are getting some kickback. And so if you're not built on that, you better be prepared for what come with it. And it also leads to just different conversations about like, okay, well, what the fuck am I in this for? You know what I'm saying? Because am I in this just to be safe? Am I in this to speak? Can I tell certain truths in a way that maybe doesn't come off like that, but still say the same shit? Like, how do I?
Right. And that's the thing. So you just being you are that message. You don't need to say that message.
Yeah. Like
you are it. Your existence is the message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But like for me, if I don't say something, then first of all, I'm not happy. I can't be happy like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't be happy like that. It's like, you know, but then also like for a white person, if you don't say something, you're very clearly just soaking that in.
Yeah.
Or even if you're not white and they think you're white, if you're not if there's not some part, that's what, again, with Eminem, at some point he was like, man, he knows he's got racist fans. So he did that Trump freestyle outside in the car in the burning, whatever.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, I don't like Trump and bump, bump, bump. Like he, you know what I mean? It's like, man, because he comes from the culture.
Yeah. And he's not a Hollywood guy, you know, like he's successful, but he still is like a Detroit guy.
Yes.
Which keeps him connected to the culture. You know what I'm saying? And his guys are, I think that's very, very important. He wasn't one of those move to Hollywood, never come back, move to New York, never come back. He was like, no, Detroit is great. You know what I'm saying? Michigan is great. I'm going to stay here and stay connected to the culture. And
in his mind, he's still sitting there like, how do I rap as good as Redman?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, it doesn't matter how, like,
yeah.
Like he can get rich, he can get famous, he can get whatever, but like what actually matters to him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You see, like every time he goes on, every time I've seen him on a stage in the last 5 years, he's got an album, like a t-shirt with an album, with a classic album on it.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you see all the time, like it'll be Redman or Cool G Rap, all the people he always shouts out.
That's dope.
He'll have a, you know, By Any Means Necessary, Fear of a Black Planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because his thing is like, man, I don't want to steal this. I want to be part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what that's the real richness.
Yes.
That's the real richness, man. There's so many people that are like stewing in their discomfort with themselves, and all they got to show for it is money. And like you start blowing through that money. Yassine told me this. He's like, man, there's one time young in his career, he took a check from something that he didn't feel good about because he had people to feed. Yeah. And he's like, man, I didn't feel great about what I did. So I just blew through the money to try to make myself feel better. Cause the only thing I got from this is the money. Then you mess up the money and it's like, damn, I should have bought a building or something. But I felt so bad about, he's just like, I just felt so unfulfilled. Yeah. That I just blew through the money. And he's like, if you do something, you know. And so before Dave walked away from money, Yassine walked away from all kind of stuff. Yeah. Like he's the inspiration for Dave to walk. I think he's the actual inspiration for Dave to walk away from Comedy Central. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of guys, there's that story is so, I mean, shit. I was doing a bunch of studies about D'Angelo. I think he had the same kind of situation where, but I think his just kind of came across as self-sabotage. But I kind of look at D'Angelo was a guy who he got to a point, shit blew up really fast. Yeah. He had one of them industry doors that you look in and you see, and you just be like, can I walk through this motherfucker? And he just be like, nah, I don't want whatever's over there. I'm close. I'm gonna go back over here. And that tension of not going in that door and not taking what they have for him is it reminds me of the Dave Chappelle shit. Like he could have went through there and been a megastar, but at what cost? You know what I mean? And next thing you know, he's fucking with all the shit he shouldn't be fucking with because of that tension that was created when he went from being an artist and people loving him for his art to being a fucking sex symbol, and then the industry being like, we about to put this battery in your back, and him being like, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a fucking artist. Lauren too. Yep, Lauren too. And ever since then, she ain't made another record. D'Angelo is not making nothing commercially viable. He's making great music, great art, but he's not making. He's not gonna try to make another Untitled again. He will never make that kind of song again because now he knows what's on the other side of that door. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, and it's just like, man, it's not. It's not good. And like they will try to. Yeah, man. Yeah, I just saw Lauren at Roberta Flack's thing, and both her speech and her singing. Yeah, was like I have not seen her talk or sing like that in a very long time. And I'm like, oh, she's at a Black funeral. Yeah. Yep. Like she's home. Yes. When she's home, she's clear. Yeah. When she's home, she can talk, she can sing, she can, you know what I'm saying? Cause she's home. Yeah. It's like, man, that world that they tried to pull Lauren into. And you remember there was a rumor there where she was like, I'd rather have my children starve than white people buy my music. It's like, she didn't say that. Yeah. And even if she did, that's not what she meant. But it's like, I know what she meant. Yeah. It's like, I want to be me still. Yeah. I thought all she ever said was, when I make music, I don't envision making it for white people or something like that. I'm making it for people around me and Black people. So it's like, so that stuff is just success. And people were like, oh, she's racist because she don't make music for us. And same thing like, did Alice Walker. Yeah, it's like, it's bullshit. Yeah, there's
You
that
know what I
famous
mean?
thing with Alice Walker where they're like, "Are you ever going to write about white characters?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "You have no idea how deeply racist that question is.
Yeah.
Like, you want me to start writing my books for you?"
Then they flip that into she's racist now because she, that's not how this works, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, you just see like Lauren, like she got up and she like her talking, you know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
just see like and I mean Nina Simone had that too.
Yeah.
Like Nina Simone, they really wanted Nina Simone to be like, look, she's, you know, yeah, she's dark skinned and everything, but look how beautifully she plays concert piano.
Yeah.
Like she's better than, and then she started making Mississippi Goddamn and she, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And they kind of like got rid of her. And then she was struggling with some mental health stuff that reminds me of Lauren.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But there's times where you see her, like there's this thing where she's in a gym. It looks like she's in a gymnasium in a black school. And like, I just imagine it's like DC or something. But she's playing and singing and talking to the kids. And it's like, yeah, she's home.
Yeah.
Like they're not messing with her. Like she's actually in her environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why for us, it's like, man, I'm so happy, you know, I'm just happy seeing artists be free. I'm happy seeing anybody be free. And the more your freedom is threatened, the more happy I am to see people. I am never as happy as to see a black person be free. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with you. It's like, you're free. You own the house. Like you allowed your mom the freedom to do what she needed to do. And then you paid off that crib.
Yeah.
You own your music. You know what I mean? You own a truck. You still got that truck?
Yeah, yeah. I might sell it, but yeah, I still own a semi truck.
It's like, man, if he want to go back to that, he can.
Yeah.
You basically had a love and service experience with that truck.
Pretty much.
But it's, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, man, it's just, I love it. I love seeing Merce be free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Merce is free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's saying like, man, it's going to be my last tour. And, you know, Merce said one time, like, man, Merce and Slug are the best of friends. But Merce is like, I can't be on a stage where I feel like I'm auditioning for white people with my culture.
Yeah, it's real.
And he's like, it has nothing to do with Sean.
Yeah.
That's my man, 50 Grand. Love him. They are best friends probably. That's probably his best immediate circle friend. You know what I mean? But he's just like, man, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. After all these years, they've known I was right here for all these years. Like I just can't. I can't. You know.
That shit is real, man. Hell yeah. Shit, well, that's all I had today, man.
Man, I'm sorry. Mega long-winded. Both. I think our episode on my podcast was mega long too.
Yeah, this is like 2.5 hours. This is good though. This is really
we could
good.
do a whole joint together.
Hell yeah.
We could have like a podcast together just talking about all kind of.
That would be fucking fresh. Just talking about random shit like this. Like nuts and bolts shit and mad stories that have never seen the light of day.
Dude, when I heard they were making a Scribble Jam documentary, I was like, oh no. Don't do that.
That's funny. You know, I was like, oh, this is cool. Then whatever happened. I'm not in it because I just ended up missing the times they were trying to interview me. So I'm not going to be in it. I'm curious about it. You know what I mean? Just because it's like seeing my dudes and seeing it more just like, you know what? Dibs, G Fresh. I'm glad they're going to tell y'all story. Like, because like on some Cincinnati shit, I'm like, someone needs to tell these dudes' story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me living there that time and seeing what they put into it. Let's do it. You know, it doesn't define me. I mean, you was there, don't define us, but we was definitely like in that motherfucker.
I mean, it's my least favorite version of myself.
Really?
Artistically, personally. Yeah. Like, that's my least favorite. You know what I mean? That was me trying to fit in. Like that's me when I first discovered there's this like white guy thing.
Yeah.
And being like, can this be a place where you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't comfortable yet. And I didn't, you know what I mean? I felt like, you remember when they first announced, like, we're making a documentary about Freaknik and all these people were like, no, you better not.
That's so true.
That's how I felt. I was like, wait a minute. That, you know what I mean? That was 99. Like we weren't thinking about there was going to be an internet and cameras and.
Dude, I never would have imagined this shit would have turned into this back then. It was just like, yo, let's just have a fun weekend. Y'all come down here. We're going to rap. We're going to be at every event and have some fun. And that's the biggest joint. We just want to be there and be present and, you know, and show some skill. But it's like, you never thought that shit would have been like, oh yeah, this whole fucking
You just wanted a
movement.
job that would let you off
Yeah.
to go do your shows. That's the best you could.
Yeah. I was lucky.
And
like
not lose money
yeah.
making the music.
That was it. That era. And it was like we was all just trying to build this thing. But you know, to me, it's got a different significance. But I'm either way about it because I'm like, you know, like it helped us personally and just like having that hunger. You know what I'm saying? So that's like when I think about Screwball, I think about just how hungry we was. Like, nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like,
well, man, and I mean, you had great moments.
yeah. But,
I think about certain lines of yours at least once a month ever since they happened. You're not a ruckus, man. You a 25-piece chicken nugget, man. What?
That was my guy too. Like that was my dude. Scandal was my dude. I loved him.
Oh yeah, people always went the hardest at their actual friends.
Great, like somebody was talking about you and Mikey the other day. I think Deep Talk. He's like, "Yo, man, that was epic. Like them two dudes knew so much about each other." You know, I did when I said, he's like, "You don't even have a tape."
Oh
like,
man,
yes.
He said, "You look like an albino ape." Wait. And when I said you don't have a tape, then as soon as it's done, I was like, "I'm sorry, Mikey." I was like, "I'm sorry, man."
Because
like,
you did drop before
like,
him. You know what I mean? Like technically, you dropped before him. So like,
yeah.
it was great. It was
and it's funny because the first conversation we had, because me and Mikey were already starting to get cool, but Sadiq said, "We'll put this out," and I was like, and I asked him like, "Are we just putting this out, or am I like part of this?" And he was like, "If you want to be part of this, you're part of this." But I was like, I need to talk to the other people that are part of it.
Yeah.
And Slug was the last one I talked to, and Slug didn't fully buy in until we were on the God Loves Ugly tour.
Yeah.
Like he told me straight up, like, "You're a great rapper." He's like, "We haven't had a lot of good experiences with dudes that are just great rappers because they can't figure out how to do what we're doing."
Yeah.
Like we're doing more than just making rap music. Like we're trying to write songs. We're like, we're trying to write like Bob Dylan or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if you can figure that out, then you could figure out how to really be part of this. Otherwise, you're a good rapper, you're a nice guy, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, so could we just say, "We'll see"? And he was like, "Yeah, if you're cool with "we'll see."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I went to Mikey and I was like, "Yeah, so me and Sadiq had this conversation, blah, blah, blah." And he was just like, "Yo, your stuff ain't coming out before mine." That's what he said. And so when I said that to him, that's why I apologized. I was like, "I'm sorry, Mikey," because that was a sore spot. He's like, "How this dude come after me? I'm out here winning all these battles. I got," you know what I mean? I've been on the road. This dude came off the, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Out the North Minneapolis Farm League. Like I was from the North Side. I wasn't even from the South Side.
Yeah.
And like, man, this guy came out of nowhere with a finished project and it's coming out before mine. Like he played it. Like when they played at my release party too, the same when I met you.
Yeah. I still got to think of like a 18 by 24 poster. I'm pretty sure. Like I used to have it hung on my wall of your release party.
Crazy. I don't have that.
Yeah. It's like Greenhouse Effect, Brother Ali, Rites of Passage. Tape. It's like black and white. I think it's like gray is the print. They didn't do them in full color. But yeah, I used to have that joint on my wall all the time. I think I got it back in the room. But yeah, man.
And I remember like me and you weren't tight yet. We just met, but you were like, "Man, I ain't never seen somebody rock that hard in open toe sandals before." And I was like, "Oh," because you know certain people it's like, "Oh, okay." You know what I mean? And I threw a little something back at you. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, "Oh, word, blah, blah, blah." You know what I mean? There was like just a little,
little jabs and shit. Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
But it was funny because it was a compliment too. You were like, "Man, never seen somebody rock it that hard with them," and I sure did have open toe.
Killing.
Yeah, man, I was in full on incense and Peace Queen Talib Kweli energy. That was mine.
Yeah.
And got on the road, started busting people in the head.
Exactly. That shit changed immediately. Thugging. He came out thugging.
When I realized we're not in coffee shops anymore. These white people have mosh pits.
Right. It's a different energy out here.
Yeah.
That shit is great, man. This is so fucking real, man. Well, thank you for being here, man.
Man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you, man.
Long time coming, and we had to do this again as like, because your story is still being told. You've done these 2 projects, and you still have many more things. You never know which way it's gonna go with your relationship with Mello and your own shit and film tours that you may do. And We should have you back on here again as things progress with like
Man, and
everything
yeah,
you're learning.
the main thing is that I feel that way. Like there were
Yeah.
times where I was like when I put out Morning in America on Rhymesayers,
Yeah.
that was like number 69 on the Billboard chart. I was back on TV again. I did Jimmy Fallon and stuff, but I felt like this is over. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't like I didn't like the situation. I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
That's when a bunch of, and so like you said, like in some ways that was a height, you know, in terms of what other people saw. But like ever since I've been doing things this way, I'm like, yo, let's go. I feel energized to make music. I feel energized to I feel like inspired again on all levels.
That's super dope. Yeah, that's the benefit of it, man. And it's like you're saying, just being so connected again with the results of what you're doing. Like you get to see, I did this happened. Oh, I'll do more of that so that this can happen more often. Or I'll time this to where I'm doing this when this is going on, and I'll follow it with this, and then I can get back to doing that every X amount of months or years. And okay, now I got the rhythm of this shit. Okay, now I can start leaning into it.
And it's the same thing when you first start working out. That's why it sucks to start working out.
Yeah,
because when you start working out and you're not in good shape, it only hurts in the beginning.
Yep.
You got to get through that part to where you start being like, man, when I went out and ran that day or whatever, or like, man, I slept really good that night. It takes a minute for that to.
Yep.
But then, and then if you eat good for like 6 months and then you have a crash out day, you'd be like, oh, it was fun in the moment, but it took like a week to recover from that joint.
Absolutely.
Like, man, I didn't feel right for 3 days after I ate. Like, man, dude, fried chicken and ice cream. Ooh. Like, man, it took me days to get right after that. So you just, then it's not even discipline anymore. It's just because like it starts to become natural. Like being good to yourself starts to become natural.
Yes. Yes. And it's all related. It's all related is the secret, you know, like all the things we chase. It's very easy to just chase the thing. And it's like, nah, man, can you sustain it? You know, I had a conversation with one of my trucking buddies. I'll tell this where he is today. And he was telling me about just like so many drivers he knew who made a lot of money. And like he had a dude who was like, he had become a millionaire, you know what I mean? With his trucking company, but he would never take a vacations. You know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, I'm gonna wait. Give me 1 more year. You know, I'm gonna pay off this debt. I'm gonna do that. And he said that everybody else like, dude, take some time off. Take some time off. It's funny because the dude he's talking about, his name was Al. So he's like, everybody will be like, yo, Al, man, take some time off, man. You up, man? It's cool. Like, nah, just give me a couple more months. He said basically Al got prostate cancer, passed away, never got to take vacation, never got to spend a dime of his millions. It happened within a year. He was gone. And it's like, they don't tell you that, man, that like your health, taking care of yourself, the experience, loving what you do. Some things are more important than the money that we, like when I was driving a truck, I cared about music more than ever because I realized, yo, without money, I need this. This shit is good to me. This shit, it gives me an outlet. When I'm sitting here docking around all these people who have nothing, music gives me something to pour myself into that brings me legit joy. Yeah. These people don't have that. And so I need to get right.
They hate the downtime. And for you, it's like, that's when I come alive. Like my heart comes alive now.
I can make a beat. Okay, I got 2 hours in this doc. Let's get it. Let me do some vocals in the back of the truck. Whatever, all that shit I was doing. It's like, you never know, but like putting yourself in a position to just feel good and experience the joy that the art brings you is so important. And it's not that people overlook that in terms of, I just got to make the money. And then you become an awful person. You become unhealthy, or you sacrifice so much time, you will never get to enjoy the thing that you're putting off. And I don't want anybody to experience that, man. Like everybody has ups and downs, but I would like people to at least understand that your health, your happiness, mentally, spiritually, physically, should be your priority at all times. And these arbitrary monetary goals ain't gonna do it. You'll just be a miserable person with a lot of money. You know, so.
Man, well, I've learned so much from you, man.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And yeah, like, man, like I definitely owe a lot of the the inspiration and guidance, and and having like I said, a peer who is also a role model is different than seeing somebody that's disconnected. Talking to Alchemist is one thing, because it's like, man, come on, we gonna make it. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like you
right,
gotta,
right.
it's just different. You're from LA, you grew up next to, but for us, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, to see you do something, I'm like, that's in the back of my mind. I was always like, maybe I could do that. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been dope for me watching you do it, and seeing you learn and adapt and adjust, and like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, there's certain things I would see. I was like, okay, I know what's going on. Before I knew about the distro problem, I was like, okay, the 5 songs in the tour, that tour was on the books. They couldn't move the tour. You know what I'm saying? I know how that is. It's like, you can't move it once it's there. And I'm like, okay, so this is just the dipping and diving and the adjusting, and okay, we're gonna do this till we can get to there, and we're gonna get this, and then and then once those things get in place, the album's out. Now it's like, okay, now we got more dates. Bam. Now we got the album out. Bam. Now we can get some more momentum because we've corrected that issue. We got the distro, we got the business. Now I can get back to the art. So everybody at home, please support this brother. Support Brother Ali. He's been a good friend over the years. He support the show. And I should have had him on here a long time ago, but this is just like the perfect timing to me.
This is the time.
Yeah, this is the time. And like, I wanted to time it around the time his album came out. And I knew he would have a lot of conversations about the album. I was like, I don't think anybody will ask him about the things I'm going to ask him about. I was like,
they can't. They can't. This is a conversation only me and you or me and Merce could have. Or honestly, and Merce and Sage have been helpful too. I got to shout them out as well. So, like this, me and Sage started out battling. Weren't sure about each other. I thought we might have to fight someday. I wasn't looking forward to it.
Sage can scrap from what I hear. I heard you got squabbles.
You can just tell, man. I can just tell. Like,
shout out to Sage.
And I think we're the same type of crazy. Maybe I'm like, oh, this might be bad. This might go on. This might be like, man, Peter Griffin and the chicken. But woo. So anyway, then we got cool. Now that was a lot better. But then the second I made this shift, it's like, it opened up this whole thing, and like, I can tell he cares. He thinks about what I'm doing. Like he thinks about it like I'm one of his artists or something. Like he you know what I mean? He's always like, I really feel it. He'll hit up Brendan. I think you guys should be focusing on this and that, And then Merce is the one that connected me with Mello, and it's stepping into a different conversation. Man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you. So everybody at home, support Brother Ali. His tour is coming through. Him, DJ Abilities, got JB on some dates. Merce
JB
on
is on
dates.
all of it.
All of it.
JB's on the whole thing.
Okay, shout out
and
to
then
him.
Merce is on Atlanta all the way through. Or no, maybe before that, maybe Charlotte. He's on like the South part all the way through Texas.
Okay, dope. So yeah, go see Brother Ali. Support this man. And if you're a Brother Ali fan, we thank y'all for tuning in. We do this every week. We talk about this kind of shit, for artists, trying to help and inspire them and educate them at the same time. If you like what you heard, stick around. And And when you hear Print talk about those artist consultations, you're looking at somebody that got them for free because we're friends. Because you know what I mean. But whenever you do that, I post them. I'm like, hey, trust me, do this, do this. Yeah, man. I do the coaching. If you guys need help with anything, hit me up, man. I'm always down to help. And so we'll see all you guys next week. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.